What are you guys talking about?
Fish tanks.
Fish tanks.
Oh, fish tanks. Gotcha. Josh's his hobby
Thank
for
you.
the past year or so.
Is what?
I said it's your like main hobby for like the past 2 years.
Dude, hey man, I love I love my fish.
Yeah.
You know, like my fish, that's where it's at. Like, I mean, dude, like especially now, like because like, I don't have any roommates or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
all of the like just like sitting around like just kind of just fucking watching them is like all I got to do.
Yeah. It's true.
I don't know. No, it's not anymore. I don't know what it is.
Cool. So what you guys been up to during this quarantine week?
Not a whole lot, just doing the work thing.
Yeah.
Trying anyways.
Yeah. How about you, Anna? What have you been doing this?
Eating.
Dude, yeah, I've been eating a lot.
Eating, drinking beverages.
Yeah, I'm right there
Trying
with
to
you.
get projects done, like house stuff. I got a lot of house stuff done, like ridiculous house stuff done. Oh my God. I had to play teacher to my 12-year-old and do pre-algebra and stuff like that. So
Nice. I remember those
not
days
fun.
pre-algebra. Actually, I liked algebra. It actually wasn't that bad.
oh yeah, I
Really?
didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm Asian, but I'm just not a big fan of like math.
We know this from the last conversation that we had 2 weeks ago.
Dude,
We
my
know
math is
your math was so bad.
my what?
Your math is so bad.
Yeah, well, I was also kind of drunk then too.
Even when I'm drunk, my math is not that bad.
Well, but you're also an accountant. You do like real Asian shit.
Dude, I do nothing with numbers at all day. I don't do
Really?
anything with nothing I do. I don't type any numbers in. I mean, I quickly look at stuff. It's like, oh, it's obviously there's a variance or something, or like they don't match, but I don't actually like add up anything at work.
Yes, people for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Alex is, he's one of those people that's like, living off of our tax dollars. So
Thank you.
yeah. So, we're paying this guy's salary.
You guys are paying my view. Hold on. Can you guys see my view of the city?
No. I mean, I can sort of see, but
Oh,
Yeah.
looks nice.
It's quiet. It's no one outside though.
it's not what?
I said it's pretty quiet. There's like no one out or anything. It's been like pretty quiet here like the whole entire month. Like actually like seems like everyone like left town, it seems like. Like I rode my bike up Constitution Avenue. Like literally Constitution Avenue is one of the busiest roads in DC. And then on a Monday afternoon, I rode a bike right up the middle of the road. There's not a car on the road.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost kind of scary. It's like very eerie here because there's like no one here.
Dude, I was out today, cruising around in the vet, and yeah, there wasn't like a ton of people out. It was great. Besides it being like it was a little chilly, so there wasn't great traction. And then my TPMS thing started flashing again.
Is your TPMS sensor like broken or?
No, it's because like the wheel sensors, because my wheels from a C7 Z06, the frequency doesn't match up. So I have the correct sensors like in a box in like my.
You just haven't swapped them in yet.
Yeah, because basically, I mean, you have to swap. You have to take the tires off to do it. So
yeah,
it's not really worth until I get new tires. But
like $100 to get it done though. That light would annoy me so much though to have it on.
Well, I'm not classy like you, Alex.
I mean, it's not that it's classy. It just annoys me that light annoys me.
So, and what tires do you have on the Supra?
Oh, right now it's just, I think I don't know. It's on its dailies, which I guess are just Michelin.
Jason, I like it.
You like that?
Where did you get that?
Hey guys, my name is Josh.
Yeah, apparently you get just took my background, huh?
There was a little Photoshop. I had to cut you out.
Yeah. little Photoshop action.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, Jason, do you know Anna, Bikini Racer?
No.
No.
Well, other old school Superforums folks.
Oh, hello everyone.
What's up, Jason?
What's up?
What's
Hey,
going on?
so you ever fix your brake problem?
No, so I found a brake leak, but I don't
Yeah.
have the tool. So,
Dude,
I'm
you
gonna.
can Amazon that tool.
Yeah, I went to Home Depot and I tried to look for it and I couldn't
Yeah,
find
they're
it.
not gonna have it there. They'll have it at a parts store though. You can probably rent it at like AutoZone or something.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet. It was crazy. It's been snowing yesterday and it's
Really?
beautiful out today.
It snowed?
It snowed yesterday. We woke up with like a sheet of snow, you know.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Gotta respond to other people.
Are we live right now, Josh?
Yeah.
Are we live on the interwebs?
It is live on the interwebs.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, so that's weird. I can't believe it because it was like 60 and sunny here today.
Yeah, it was like 55 here today, but it was snowing last night. There was still snow today on the ground.
How's Texas?
Texas was hot today. It was cold last night. Like it was 73 today. So it was nice driving around weather, but like everybody was out today. Like when you said you guys went out and there were people on the street, like there were a lot of people out. I took the Porsche out today and some little Mazda tried to chirp his wheels at the light. And I'm like, really? I'm just going to get groceries.
What Porsche do you have?
It's a 2002 911.
Like
So
just Carrera? Like,
yeah, Carrera.
how do you like
No.
that?
I like it. It's zippy. I am
Nice.
curious to try a turbo because,
So like I
Those are
actually
fun,
I,
but-
I looked at those 996 Carreras, and I really like them. I was trying to look for a 6-speed, and it was like a little bit more than I want to spend because like the interior doesn't really do it for me, but they look fun.
they're all fun to drive. Like this one came out of a guy from Canada. And so it was just lowered and he did an upright on the wing and it's fun to drive. Like it's super zippy. You go
Have you
90
addressed-
easy on the highway.
Have you addressed the rear seal yet on that thing?
I think he did it before we bought it.
Good.
Is that expensive?
Like, yeah.
It's expensive if it fails. So if you catch it before it fails, it's not too bad. It involves pulling the trans out.
Is that like BMW bearings where it's like $2,000 to fix it ahead of time, or like $30,000 after the fact?
Yeah, kind of like that.
I'm a big fan of the M3. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of like BMW.
Which
I
one?
love the M3.
36 or 46?
46.
I like the 46 the most, but I don't like them enough to pay the premium for that. So I think if I were to get one, I've been looking at E92 M3s.
E92s are awesome. I like those.
You
Like
can get
ones
them
that-
pretty cheap nowadays, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can get them for under 20.
yeah. You should get one of those, Josh, as like a fun car.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Then
Andrew was
change
one
out
of
the rod
he's
bearings.
telling me not to get one. He doesn't like, yeah, he's like, we have the Z06. I'm like, well,
Well, yeah. I mean, wait, who told you this? Me?
Andrew.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they're kind of like very similar cars in a way.
Dude, the BMW M3 and the Z06 are not similar at all.
I'm saying they're just not practical for you to have two-door cars, and for you, I don't know. You understand? Like, I mean, I like four-door cars a lot, so
I mean, I guess.
they're just super convenient to get in and out of and put shit in groceries and shit like that. And then if you gotta go anywhere, it's just like easy to just hop in.
I got the Acura for that, man.
But
I got the old TSX.
yeah,
Ooh.
Dude, I am a big fan of Acura cars. I think Alex can, confirm that
dude, I love Acuras. I put 300,000 miles on my one Acura, over 300,000 on the TL.
Are you serious? I don't think I've ever driven 300,000 miles in my life.
I put three. Yeah, when I sold the thing, and it had like 332, I think, when I sold it, and it was still running perfectly fine. Like the AC blew like ice cold, no problems with it. I mean, the only reason why I got rid of it was like I knew it was a ticking time bomb at that point. I was like, let me just sell it while it's still working,
Yeah, good point.
yeah.
while it's still worth something, and then before I have to like have it towed to a scrapyard or something.
Well, that's kind of like me because like I don't like before, especially because I didn't really drive anywhere, just because I just didn't because I walked to work. Like I had my 2000 Acura TL, and I put like 400 miles a year on it, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to get like a new car. But then like a couple people, Alex and my other buddy Andrew, were telling me that I should, just in case like it breaks down and I'm fucking stranded.
Yeah, you should.
There we go.
Well, I mean, I did. I ended up getting the TSX.
Yeah, smart
So
move.
I did end up getting one. So yeah, but I don't know. I'm a fan of them. And what do you drive a daily?
A Cadillac Escalade. And before
Yeah.
that, it was
Oh, yeah.
2000. That's nothing. It's like a 2008, maybe.
I really like those.
But
The ESVs are a little long for my taste, but like the other ones, the ones that were based on like the Tahoe frame. not
Yes.
the
Yeah, that's like the
early
normal
ones.
one.
Yeah.
I would definitely rock one of those with like the shorter frame.
it's zippy. Before that, I had a Forerunner. Same thing. It has 300,000 miles. Still have it. And that's like the backup daily if anything happens with the Escalade, because like I forget what went out the other day. Something
Those
on the
are
Escalade
really
went out.
reliable,
And
aren't they?
which ones? The Forerunner or the Escalade?
Oh, the Escalade. Toyotas run forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Escalade's been super reliable. The Toyota never had any problems, but like people are wanting them now up north. They said, like
Oh, yeah. We
a
love
two-wheel
those
drive. Yeah, like this is a 2000 with 300,000 miles on it, and people are still ponying up like 6 to 8 on it, and I'm like, what? So mine.
I actually want like the 2003 through 2000, was it 2009? The one with the V8.
Oh, I didn't know they
It's-
came with V8.
It's the generation after yours, Anna. It's the one right after yours.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's the only one that came with the V8. That was you could purchase it with the V8.
Cool.
Yeah, and those things run forever. Like that V8 is bulletproof.
Heck yeah.
I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind another Toyota, but they're a bit expensive for what you get.
With the Forerunner,
Just any Toyota.
well, there's a reason for that. It's because they don't break.
They've been forever.
You're gonna make up the money and not having to having to not fix it.
I like to live dangerously.
We know you do.
There you go.
Jason, how
know
many
you
miles
do.
does your Super have on it now?
Right now, 108,000.
That's like the whole thing, or just like the body?
That's pretty much the body, because the motor is already. I'm already on like the third motor, so I mean,
Third motor. The hell are you doing to it?
well, I mean, I didn't blow any motors up or anything. It's just over time, things were bought and sold.
Gotcha.
And how many miles are in your Supra? Because you've had that thing for a long time.
96,000,
Yeah.
I believe.
Jason, she
So-
drives way more than you do.
Well, those were it hasn't been driven a lot in the last few years, but like I used to drive it to races. So when I
Yeah.
would drive to Arizona, it was just let's daily drive it out. Woo, throw the wheels and tires in the back, stuff that thing packed full, and then it would drive out to Maryland and stuff. So all the miles came early on. It hasn't had like a lot of
Maryland.
miles.
Maryland.
No B race
Oh.
back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day.
Over at like MIR.
Yeah.
Hey,
I've
hold
been
on, I'm
like
gonna hop off my
What is?
phone and hop onto my computer.
Oh, we got upgraded, Alex.
Well,
See-
no, so I'm trying to chat with people on the phone too. Still,
Ooh, multi-chat.
Alex is just so popular. I mean, it's really hard to compete with. Like I'm just so glad you made time for us.
You're welcome, Josh. You're welcome.
I mean, Alex is kind of like like an internet celebrity.
I don't know about all that. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
he said,
What was I gonna say? So yeah, I'm Jessica's OnlyFans has not she's not
It's like, is this a segue?
so well it's made me think of it because like Alex and Jason and you and have like mentioned it to me about like what it's like because I think I'm the only one here that subscribes. Because Alex, you don't, right?
"Why would I subscribe to Jessica's OnlyFans? Why?"
I don't know. Well, I think I am. So I get like
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my $5.
it's
$10
$10
hard-earned tax money.
fans.
Yeah, your hard-earned tax dollars would be paying for that. Okay, so you guys would be essentially paying for her OnlyFans. I wouldn't do that to you guys. 'Cause I'm very careful.
So
I'm very careful with my money. I'm putting it to good use, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's getting put to good use.
I'm sure it is.
It is. And you guys bought my Tito's and soda to get me through this quarantine, so I appreciate it.
I've gone through so much booze like in this quarantine.
Dude, you're like drinking during the daytime. I don't even do that.
Yeah, I bet like all the alcohol, Benny's and all those stores are like making a killing right now.
It's only up like 203%. Come on.
Yeah.
Booze sales.
I was watching Fox Business on Friday, and it's like apparently like it's high-end alcohol that's actually been like had the biggest increase. So not like, like you're like, Miller Lite and shit like that, but it's like, like the really high-end stuff. Because like, I mean, like it's true, like during like the week, like I usually drink like Crown, or I'll drink like, wine. So
People are like,
We're not
oh,
the
my
bars.
God, I might as well drink the good shit.
Yeah, we have all this disposable income that we would normally spend at the bar. Your tab at the bar, $100 or whatever. You get one bottle of good booze and you're good.
Yeah, right. Especially when you start at 10 in the morning. Come on now.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Gosh.
that is very true. I mean, when you start really early, it just, yeah. I've kind of made a rule for myself. Like I try to say, don't start drinking before like 5 o'clock. And that's hard. I don't always make it, but I try.
So I went to Costco on Thursday and picked up like a shit ton of booze again because I already ran out. Or not run out completely, but like I ran out of like the stuff that I don't want to like waste. I'm sorry, I ran out of stuff that I just like sort of consume where I don't care about all the expensive stuff I still have. But yeah, I kind of ran out of shit, so I had to stop by there and I spent another $300 there at Costco on
Yeah,
booze.
dude, what did you buy? $300?
Of booze, a lot of wine. I bought 12 bottles of wine. I got some.
I get a beer.
12
got
bottles
some,
of wine?
Yeah, and I got some liquor. I got 2 bottles of Screwball.
ooh.
Yeah, it's the cheapest place for Screwball by far.
Really? How much is it at Costco?
$25 a bottle. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like by far the cheapest.
nice.
So you're like a wine drinker? Is
Yeah, I
that-
drink a fair amount of wine. I got Josh into wine.
Really?
Yeah, he now likes wine now. So I didn't used to drink wine, but I think when I moved down to the city and like every girl that I went out wanted to like drink wine or meet at like a wine bar, I feel like an idiot just ordering like a cocktail or like not drinking wine with them. So I kind of forced myself to drink wine.
Yeah.
So now do you learn about wine? Or you like the
Now that I've actually,
connoisseur
like,
of wines?
yeah, I kind of know like now I've had enough varieties of wine. I know which ones I like, what's a decent wine, what's not a good wine, and really you can really tell all between the cheap wines and the good wines and stuff like that. It's like the good, like the really cheap stuff, man, it's hard to fucking drink now. It's really tough to drink. It's tough.
Oh.
How many how fast do you go through like a bottle? Do you drink like a bottle a day or
I mean, just on a normal occasion, like just like casually drinking at home.
yeah, just like every day kind of thing.
Maybe a couple glasses a night. And I don't even drink every night. I'm not like Josh. Like I took off on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was gonna take off, but then I had like a Zoom happy hour, so I had like 2 glasses. So not like crazy, like maybe a half bottle at a time. If I'm feeling good, I'll drink a whole bottle, but probably half is good enough for me.
We did like a Zoom drinking game with some friends yesterday. It was kind of sad but fun at the same time.
Sounds
Like,
fun.
I've spent so much time on Zoom like the last like month.
He
So,
mentioned
yeah.
all the proprietary information that's been sent to China over the last month.
Yeah, fuck China.
Serious. China's getting all our information. Well, they don't care about our stuff, but
Yeah, I don't think they care about like me and like my binge drinking.
What do you guys think about this whole reopening thing of Florida and Texas and Minnesota?
Yeah, and how do you feel about that?
When are they thinking of doing it?
So next Friday, I think certain retail is going to be allowed to reopen, but still like restricted to like curbside pickup and stuff like that. But essentially, they're
Yeah.
starting to reopen stuff next Friday.
I think it's all right. I mean, if they do it in phases and they don't go overboard, I don't see why it's an issue. People that, are not highly risk, they have to go back to their life. The economy needs to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say we need to do it. We need to, we need
I
to
think Florida was kind of not. I don't think opening up the beaches. You could. I think I was reading that once they announced that, like all the beaches in not all the beaches, like Jacksonville Beach.
Yeah, there's
just
just
got,
like a few, I think.
camera.
Isn't there?
What's that?
I think there's only just like a few, right? It's not like all of
Yeah,
them.
it's not all the beaches. Jacksonville Beach was one of them, and apparently it was packed.
Yeah, I
like,
saw
Yeah, I did
pictures.
see that.
I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good.
So
I think the problem with the reopening thing so early is just people can't control themselves and they can't like be smart about it is the thing.
It's all about people controlling themselves. If they practice like distancing and,
Yeah.
cleaning and washing their hands properly still, I think it'll be fine. But I think a lot of people, they just don't know or don't care to do that. And
Yeah.
now everyone else.
I don't understand. Like, did you guys not like understand the whole point of this like quarantine in the first place? It's like it's a distance. It's the whole reason why it even all kind of like happened is because everyone was so close together.
Dude,
Now
it's
spread
all
so
so
quickly.
stupid. I'm so ready to fucking go back, yeah, I don't know. I'm very salty about this all.
I don't mind staying in for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I've been
like
saving a ton of money. I mean, I will tell you this, and like I pulled a motor out of a car for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I didn't mean to do this like 8 years ago.
Yeah, dude. Like I cleaned my house a little bit. I did some work like on my cars. Like this is great. Well, for a little bit.
I mean, the only thing that I really miss, honestly, is just being able to go out to eat. That's the only thing that I'm missing, honestly. I'm able to sit down at a dinner at a restaurant and eat. It's the only thing I'm missing, honestly.
You know what? I miss buffets, man. Shit.
oh, Vegas
I want to go to
buffets.
Vegas and go like have a big fat buffet after this. Like,
Yeah.
So our office, like our company, was on their the President's Club trip for like the top performers. It was in Vegas, and it was like the week that the whole thing like started happening. And they went there, and like I was getting text messages like, "Yeah, this fucking sucks." Like there's like literally they're like there's no one out here at all. Like everyone's like staying in their rooms. Like the pools are empty, the bars are empty, the clubs are empty, and they're just like, "This is fucking terrible."
That was Texas
Yeah.
2K for us. We were out eating, just at a random place, and just it was empty at Texas 2K in Houston. All the restaurants that we were at were empty.
So yeah, how was Texas 2K? There was, obviously I saw the whole thing of like,
I mean,
them like just like taking everyone's money, but just not refunding, I guess.
I mean, I saw both sides of the story. I'm sorry, I understand both sides of the story. I mean, from Peter's point of view, I mean, he did shell out a lot of money he still got, regardless if the event goes on or not, he still got to put out money. So people don't understand that fact. He shelled out a lot of money for this. So I understand people want their money back, but a lot, most concerts are canceling and they're not giving any money back. At least he's giving them like, hey, you can use it for next year.
I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, which is like more than most concerts would do. Like Ultra Festival, they canceled it. You're not getting your money back.
are you serious? I thought most concerts were giving your money back.
I thought most of them weren't.
I don't know. And what did you think of the whole Texas 2K? You were there, right?
I hope I get to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, 2K was good. I mean, if you were on the end of having a badge or being on a team or being there or helping with the event, then yeah, it went over well. The racing went well. The vendors, I mean, people were like, oh, the vendors are here for the spectators. And no, it was like, I don't know, Alex, like what Jay said, it was back to a flashback to like 2002, like when it was smaller. And there weren't a whole lot of crowds and stuff there. I mean, people were getting let in, and there were, if you were with the team or if you were with whatever, you could get into the event. So there were still people attending, and it was still racing was still going on. So
Yeah, the event's still.
People did get let in then. Like,
Yeah, if you had
I
the if
mean,
you had
well-
a VIP badge.
right, and online when you purchase tickets, a lot of purchasing for the event weekend tickets were VIP, so those were VIP, not general. I don't know if that had changed up or whatever, but a lot of people had purchased the VIP tickets online anyway, and so when they brought up their stuff to the front gate, it was a VIP admission. Does that make
do
sense?
you guys have vendor or VIP tickets?
I got whatever passes O'Hare gave me, so so I got in as a I think the sponsor badge.
Yeah, we're sponsor badges. We help Peter
Yeah.
with roll race and event stuff. So
Yeah,
was good.
I mean, it was fun. I think the part of it that I kind of missed this year was the fact that I didn't go out at all this whole Texas 2K.
we went out a
nor-
little bit. We did
normally
house party
I-
stuff now. Good.
Normally I go out, like normally I'm out at least a couple nights a week. I mean, I say like a few nights, but this year I didn't go out at all. I went out
That's-
in Austin on Sunday night, and then that's when I kind of changed my flight to fly back home because I was like kind of concerned that flights were going to get canceled. I wasn't going to be able to fly home on that Tuesday because that's when everything was kind of like spiraling out of control at that point. Like the whole country was like, shit, I don't know what's going on.
Spiraling out of control, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
I mean,
had-
just popping off everywhere. It was just like cancellations here. Everything was just like no one knew what was going on.
I had some friends from Australia that had come in for 2K, and they flew out on Monday or Tuesday, but right as everything started shutting down, and so as they're making their way out of the States, it's just kind of like going like this. And then
Yeah,
they
it
got
was
to
like
Australia.
kind of shitty for the international people who flew into Texas 2K. Like,
Yeah.
So O'Hare had some customers that flew in from Germany, and their flight got canceled, and they were having a lot of trouble finding flights back home to Germany because all the flights were getting canceled. All the international flights were really getting canceled, so they had to go to the consulate to like figure out plans. So they actually end up having to stay in Texas for like I think like an extra 3-4 days actually until they could. I think pretty much. I guess they found enough people to fly to France that were like heading to France, so they were able to board that flight. But
Really? Wait, so enough people want to go here, so we'll just like open a flight?
I guess I'm not sure, but they couldn't fly home for like a couple of days. They had to go to the consulate for help.
Jeez.
So it was kind of a interesting experience for them. Sure it was, and it was like their first time to the United States. I was like, this is not a good first experience, but I mean, what can you do?
We're
You
coming
know?
back again.
What can you do? The whole world's going to shit right now. So
Yeah, I mean, like I don't. If I had been on vacation somewhere, I don't think I would really hold it against the area. of what we're
yeah,
doing.
you can't hold it against the area, but I would definitely try to get home as soon as possible, like get my ass back.
Yeah, well, I mean, you still went to Texas 2K. Like I wouldn't. I mean, Anna, I know she's like local, so that's different. But like, I
Yeah.
would probably not have flown in.
Yeah, I was taking that risk because I wasn't concerned about more of the contraction of the virus at that point, just because I was reading all the data. Like most people who are getting sick had like some kind of a condition, and it still stands now. Like people that are actually getting sick are just there's some kind of health issue with them prior, or they're like sick prone.
Yeah, old,
So-
diseased. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I can't remember the last time I've been sick. And then when if I ever get sick, it's usually like a 1-day thing. And just in general, I think I'm pretty healthy. Like I work out a shit ton, eat really good. I'm not overweight, no diabetes, no high blood pressure anymore. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not really too concerned about this thing for me. I'm more worried about my parents than anything else because they're old as hell.
Like as you're like visiting them and you're at their house.
Yeah, well, my dad works at the hospital, so like he doesn't really have a choice.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. My mom like kind of closed up shop, so she's at home going bored out of her mind.
So are they gonna reopen the restaurant then, or what?
They are going to reopen, yes. I don't know when Maryland's planning to reopen. That's when they'll probably reopen when the actual state goes back in order. They're not even doing carry out or anything. They kind of had a little walkout from the chefs. Like the chefs didn't want to work, so no chefs, no restaurant, unfortunately.
They didn't want to work, so they
They
didn't
didn't
want
want
to
to work. They were afraid of the virus.
They were okay with not getting paid.
They were okay with not getting paid, apparently.
I would rather work rather than.
Especially when you're a chef, like you don't see anything in the front, right? You're just in
Well,
the
it doesn't
back.
like. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you're, you're fucking Gordon Ramsay, you're probably making bank. But like, my brother-in-law is a chef, and
They don't make shit. Yeah, they don't
he's
make
not, he's not rolling in the cash by any means.
Right.
I think our chefs make like somewhere around 35 to 40 grand a year.
Right. It's not enough to take like a month off and be okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. My mom's taking a bath on like rent and everything. She's like still paying all that, so she's like still like pouring out. I mean, her bills alone just each month are like 20 grand a month. So
Did she pay for the or apply for the payment or the what is it called, payroll protection program?
yeah, I applied for that for her. So I did the paperwork on that, but that funding kind of ran out of funds.
Yeah, I know. Because
Yeah.
I applied too, and we were able to secure funds.
Yeah, so we're hoping that they'll put more funding because our paperwork's in. It's there. They actually sent us an email from the bank that says it's right now it's depleted right now, so we can't give any funding right now.
Right. If you're not part of the first few banks that had the system set up with the government, the SBA, you're not going to be able to get it through.
Yeah. So yeah, we haven't. So when they roll out more funding for that, which I think they will actually, the government will roll out more funding. I think we have a good shot at it.
Yeah. Well,
but if not, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's not much you can do about it. It's like it's money. We'll make up the money somehow,
But when you guys do enroll in the payroll protection program, once you get the money, you kind of have to hire everyone back.
Yeah, we have to open up shop. That's one of the stipulations I saw.
Right. You can't just hold on to the money. In order for the loan to be given, you got to use it.
Yeah, because if we don't, we have to pay it back. It won't convert to a grant.
Right.
So I'm not sure how all the paperwork that are going to require us to prove that. I wonder what's going to be required for proof of opening or like operations. It's like sales.
Operations. They're just going to look at your payroll filings. Your things like everything you do, every quarterly state filings for employment, payroll tax, unemployment tax. That's all.
If that's the case, we'll just. I mean, if that's really honestly the case, we'll just keep the payroll going at that point.
Right. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the payment protection program.
We'll just keep the payroll going, not open up for until this thing.
Yeah. As long as your employees are getting paid, they don't care if you're making money or not.
So Steve Theodore says he's running late. He's at his neighbor's house at the barbecue.
That's not
distancing. Nice.
I mean, that's not, I'm not, the one that's not social distancing. So I got nothing to say about that one.
Where are you going, Josh? Oh yeah. I remember.
I'm not going anywhere. Like I have nowhere to fucking go. Like I just like sit in my house all day doing nothing. I mean, isn't that kind of what we all are doing right now?
I mean,
I take naps, so I don't.
I bikes.
I don't nap. I don't like sleep.
Oh, I love sleeping.
Man, so like Jason and Alex both apparently are shaving during this. I have not shaved in 3 weeks now.
Dude, I got a haircut on Thursday.
Dang! Oh yeah, that's right. I saw in your the Zoom chat last night.
Yeah.
Who'd you get to
do yourself?
My barber.
Oh,
that's not social
lucky.
distancing.
What's that?
That's not social distancing.
Nah, not at all. I broke quarantine rules.
That's all right. I did too. So
yeah.
I
can't think of growing up.
Girl, like, how are you doing down there with you can't go to like a salon or anything like that?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Check it out. Because I have no issue. And it's so funny because everybody's like, oh, my roots, oh, my brows, oh, my lashes and my nails. And I'm like, I can do my own nails. I don't need to do my hair. I have nothing, my eyebrows are real. my lashes are real, and so I'm like, whoo. So I don't know. I'm probably a big butt, and I get a kick out of like looking at everybody complaining about, oh, I can't do this, and it's like, well, come over, I'll do your nails. Like I can do your nails. Like I did my daughter's. I was gonna do my daughter's toes because I don't know. I always joke, or I used to joke before, and it said it was because I was part Asian that I could do hair and nails and all that other stuff. And it's like, yeah. And so like my friends that aren't Asian, I'd be like, no, come over, I'll do your nails before the whole quarantine thing. And they're like, you do nails? And I'm like, I can do nails. I didn't go to school to do nails, but I can do nails. So maybe
I don't think half the people that do nails ever went to nail tech school or anything like that. They were just kind of forced into it from a overseas boating. It's like, okay, you're gonna move to America and you're gonna learn how to do nails. And if you don't learn how to do nails within a week, you're gonna go back home.
Yeah, we've got another job for you if you don't. So no, so
Yeah, I mean, like I guess I always make Asian jokes, but I've never done anyone's nails, so you got me on that one, Anna.
oh, that's good. So no, I don't know. Like I could probably get a haircut, but I don't care.
I
pretty
think the
low
guys, the
maintenance.
people that are hurting are those people, those girls that get their hair dyed and their roots are coming in.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know what to do.
They're trying to
That-
do it themselves, pretty much. I know a lot of them are doing it themselves. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a disaster.
Although what's really endearing are those couples that are quarantined together. And
Oh,
it's the first time that like the girl cuts the guy's hair and they make it like a scene out of it. Like, you know, they do like a social media and it's like, oh, you're so cute. You guys are doing each other's hairs. I think it's cool. You know, it's nice. It's like, oh, we've been married for 25 years. I've never cut his hair. And it's my first time cutting his hair, you know? I think that's cool. It's
yeah,
nice.
they
Yeah,
can
I
do it
guess,
for
like,
sure.
I cut my cousin's hair and I got grounded for it because I did like I shaved, like it was like back in the day when like like kind of like the bowl cut was kind of in, like the shaved thing. So like,
Dude, the bowl cut was never in, by the way. It was never in.
hey,
The bowl
Hey.
cut was never in.
no. So like the one, oh dude, totally, like when the one was like your hair was good, but then you shaved like all the thing underneath and your hair like went over. You could like go back. Oh yeah, it was totally.
Maybe you did this. I did not do this.
Well,
I
that's
think
'cause you're a faggot.
Leonardo DiCaprio, when he was like younger look, like the long hair. Like it's long, but it's shaved inside, but it's just long here. So like you can like part it, right? I don't know.
Yeah. No, exactly. So like, yeah, you could part in the middle, and like the hair would come down, but your like head's like shaved like around like the sides, but just like the top is long. So like the top goes down, so it's not really a bowl cut, but like it. Yeah, it can be because it can go to the side, but like a lot of people just went like straight back. Anyway, so I cut my cousin's hair like that back in the day, and my aunt walked in before I finished, so only like half his head shaved, and it just it did not go well for me.
So you had a bowl cut. So
My career as a beautician, or esthetician, what's it called?
esthetician.
Esthetician.
Yeah, my career as that was it ended
Short-lived.
real quick.
Yeah, very short lived.
It
They
was
really
very short-lived.
name that job so like fancy. Like it almost sounds like they're doing surgery.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they almost are now, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was not good. I got grounded for like a month, and
You got grounded for the haircut.
yeah, and the thing that was stupid is like, so we went to like a actual hair like stylist or whatever, and she like finished the haircut I was giving him, and he was getting like all these compliments, like literally got compliments like randomly like on the street, and I'm like, dude, that's exactly what I was gonna do for you, but you didn't let me finish.
Mhm.
That's what Josh remembers. It was likely a disaster.
Oh, dude, I definitely remember it. Like
It was probably a huge.
like mind like an elephant, man. Mind like an elephant. So I do. So one of the the car thing is one of those. Like, so what's everyone's like favorite car they've ever owned and why?
Probably my Supra.
Super.
Yeah.
Say your Lamborghini or you're lying.
I want to say the Lamborghini, but it's actually the Supra. Yeah.
So like I mean I love the Supra a lot,
Don't
but
do it.
an Aventador, dude, come on, that's so much cooler than the Supra.
It's cooler, but the Supra, I just have so much feeling involved in it. You know,
So there is more emotion like attached to the
I
Supra.
spent like the majority of my early 20s in it. You know,
Yeah, well, yeah, but like that's
Aventador is just like an Aventador. I barely drive it. I've put on like maybe 200 miles. You know, like, and I'm scared to drive it every single time I drive it.
because
Wait, was yours the one on the video that you put
yeah,
up? Of
yep,
it
yeah,
getting-
that was yeah.
Oh,
That's why I'm scared to drive it. There's always something that happens, and when something happens, it's not like a hey, let me do it myself kind of thing. It's like, oh, let me pay
Ugh.
$2,000 to take a look at it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like so like Alex, I know I talked to you about it a little bit, but
What's
like
that?
so I was looking at getting and I was looking like thinking about getting like an LP 560 this year. But I mean before like the whole like like quarantine thing. But like after Jason's thing, it really gave me cold feet because like if I got like $100,000 repair bill on top of like $100,000 car, I don't know what I would do. Like I can afford the car, but not afford the car.
That's what most people's issues are with those high-end cars.
Yeah, like
Like I can afford my Lexus, but I don't really feel like fixing it when it breaks. That's why I bought a Lexus. It won't break instead of a Mercedes or a BMW.
yeah. So like yeah, like I really made me not want to get a Lamborghini. I mean, I still really want a Lamborghini. but-
It's kind of like rolling the dice, though. When you buy a car, you do your work, you do your pre-purchase inspection, you find out the quirks of each year that the car is and what the problems are, the most common issues, and you try to find a car that has the least amount of issues to try to avoid it. But like still, it's in God's hands. You can buy anything, like
It's in God's hands now.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
there's a shot they could
you
fail.
like you just do what you got to do to make sure that the car's as good as possible in best condition that you can find it, and you hope for the best, but you can't expect like the worst to make then you can't buy anything because then you're like, fuck, what if like
That's how I operate. I always like plan for the worst and expect the worst and just hope for the best. So like every like decision I make, I'm always like, all right, what's the worst thing that can happen? And like like apparently Lamborghini, you pop a motor that's like 100 grand down the tubes.
yeah, I mean, unless you're like, fuck it, I'll just put a 2JZ in there, might get
Yeah.
away with like
So that's the so Jason didn't tell me at first that like he thought he popped the motor. He texted me. He's like, "Hey, how many views on YouTube do you think we could get if we did the 2JZ swap in an Aventador?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, why? So he's like, yeah. He's like, I may have blown my motor. I'm really scared right now, and they're closed. It was a Sunday. He's like, I'm scared and they're closed, so I don't know what I'm gonna do right now.
it was a brief moment that I had to think about that, a very brief moment. Thank God.
I mean, that would be kind of cool. Like if you bought not like yours because yours is like in pristine condition. If you bought like like a wrecked one or like a salvage one that like had been like someone stole the motor because like they blew their motor and they didn't want to like pay for it to be fixed. So, like I'll chance jail and just steal the motor out of another one. So if it just was missing a motor and then you just bought like the shell and like dropped a 2JZ in it, that'd be kind of cool.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm all about like crossing over motors into things. So
Put an LS in there.
yeah.
that would be a first though, right? I mean, I don't think anyone's done it before,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
so be interesting.
I mean, would that even really work?
You can make anything to work with enough money.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you can make it work, but like, would it be very efficient?
I mean, efficiency by what mean? What do you mean
So,
by
all right, so like, I'm just thinking like the 2JZ, mounted like like this, like in like the front of a car, and like mounting it like, I guess the same way, but like in the back of the car, like as far as like like intake and like like air intake and stuff, like is it gonna work really that
You
well?
you flip the motor around for one thing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Alex. I've never swapped a 2JZ in a Lamborghini. My bad.
The problem is the trans to find it to adapt with all-wheel drive. That's the biggest hurdle.
Drivetrain might be a huge issue.
Yeah, that's the biggest hurdle is adapted to the all-wheel drive system. Now, if you make the Lambo rear-wheel drive, which they did have Lambos, they're just rear-wheel drive. That
Yeah,
could
could you
work.
do like an LP, like an LP swap, like from like the, the 560-2 or whatever?
Yeah. But Jason doesn't have he doesn't have the little, he's got the V12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more interesting actually, just because I don't know that platform at all. I've never seen any of those apart.
I mean, people don't really like. I've seen a few videos of like some like twin turbo Aventadors, but there's people don't really like do a ton of stuff with them.
Dude, that's a whole nother like price range that people don't play around with. Like for the price of that car, you're talking about a UGR car built. Like people can barely afford a UGR car built up. People are literally like probably spending their entire rent or mortgaging their houses to pay
Here
for
comes Steve.
builds. But like that's Steve.
What's going on, Steve?
I don't know if you can hear us yet.
I don't know if you can. So like, Steve, bottom left, your
Yeah,
thing.
no.
Oh, there you go. Never mind.
It had me muted by default, so I got it. What's up, man?
What's up, Steve?
How you
Long time no
doing?
see.
Yeah, no kidding. Good to see you guys. Sorry
Good to
I'm
see
very
you.
late, but
yeah, no.
neighborly duties were calling and we had a nice dinner party. So I was
Nice.
sitting there like, I gotta go. But
I gotta go talk car stuff.
I was telling them like, I got a virtual car meet. I gotta go.
Virtual car meet.
Yeah,
man.
I mean it's about like all we have these days is like a virtual car meets. So Steve, I threw that earlier. So what's the favorite of all the cars you've owned? What's your favorite one that you've owned?
It's
And why?
but it depends on the era, right? So we change as a
No error. You can't, there's no like
No,
stipulation.
I'll give you a real answer, right? So it's always going to be the GT3 RS. That's the one and only car. It's everything in one car. So there's no comparison. It's the one and only for me, right? For me, that's it. And they make better examples. Certainly you can modify your cars, you can do all these things, but if you just put me in one car, that's the one car. And I'm happy all the time. So easy.
Easy, huh? Man.
He didn't hesitate. That was like in his mind.
Yeah, that was like a
Oh, I
no-brainer.
talk about it all the time. I mean, people ask that question all the time. It's the easy answer.
Yeah.
But it gets more complicated when we start making it more complicated.
All
about
right.
the things you love, right? So,
What's your second favorite car after?
well, you guys are going to be bored by this in a way, but it's the
It's your Lexus, isn't it?
the GT2. So my other Porsche, it's everything with boost. You know what I mean? So
I like the GT2 a lot. Like I actually
Yeah.
think I would probably take the GT2 over the GT3 RS. Like
that's only if you don't own both.
No, but Doc, he's got GT3 RS.
RS in my case. Yeah.
Big difference there.
no.
Not in that era. I mean, it's a little more.
I'm sorry, but it's just that iconic car. It's just like the RS is just that little bit edge over the GT3.
I agree, and it's the last of the stick shift RSs. So for me, it's always going to stand the test of time. I'm just trying to see who all is on the call. So
Oh, so we got. All right, sorry, we got.
No, it's fine.
Anna, Bikini Racer.
I saw it said Paul, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
Paul.
Oh.
That doesn't look like a Paul.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Well,
there are like
yeah,
8 million
yeah,
genders these
nice.
days, so maybe.
I remember Anna and I go way back. I remember I think I sent her some factory manuals, or she sent me some factory manuals. More than 10 years.
Long ago. Golly, yeah.
Yeah. So meaning we all know each other, so it's just fun.
Yeah. So then, Jason Lintrix from Super
Yeah,
Farms.
man.
And then Alex D.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we've actually all met, except I've never met Jason before.
I've never met Steve.
I
Actually.
met Steve when he was in Maryland, actually, the
Yeah,
randomly.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Once upon a time.
I do know that like when I got my GTS, like so like this is when we were still in Superform and stuff. So Steve was like, give me a call, let me know what you like first impressions of what you like about it. So like I remember, so I unloaded it off the truck, took it for a spin, flying around doing whatever. Like the first thing I did was like called Steve and give him the lowdown. Like, okay, this is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. But yeah, the GTS is one of those things where it's like I wanted to own it, but like I don't know if I would own another one.
I understand.
You didn't
No,
like it?
that's a real thing.
No, I loved it, but it's like it's such a piece of shit. Like overall, You know?
Yeah, they're a piece of crap. I worked on my friends. So my friends got Gen 1 and my other buddies at the Gen 2. And just like working on it, I was like, this thing's the biggest piece of polished
Gen
shit.
1 Viper is a piece of shit.
The Gen 2 is not much different underneath.
Dude, it's different. Like,
I'm saying like working on it, it's literally
oh,
the exact same
yeah.
car.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the exact same car. It's
Have any of you guys been around Gen 5s?
I've seen a couple of like Antonio's Gen 5s. I stopped by his shop when I was
We
in
were at
Austin.
JP's house.
Oh yeah. He's got one too. He didn't have it at the time though.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you
Alright.
think of the Gen 5? Because people lose their mind over those. Is it
So
worth it?
literally, I was talking to Antonio. He's like, their turbo kits are exactly the same for the Gen 2 and the Gen 5s. It's hilarious. They're like, it's same turbo kit. I was like, really? They haven't changed it.
It's
in
the
that
same
many
block. Well, it's the same block.
But the fitting and how the frame, how the snakes through and everything, how the exhaust, you think on turbo kit, things change shapes like the framing and everything, the chassis. No,
Yeah.
still same piece of shit underneath.
But
that.
I'm talking stock. Like, do you guys like the car? Is the Gen 5 worth it? Is it different enough from the Gen 2, Gen 3, that it's a great car all of a sudden?
I don't think so.
I like the car. I mean, I would never buy one just because like the fit and finish is terrible.
Yeah.
Even on the new one, even on the
Even on
Gen
new
5.
ones, it's terrible.
Okay.
It's still bad. It's like driving around in like it's like trying to think of a Dodge sedan, a car like a coupe, like a Dodge Dart. It's like the fit and finish is
Really?
like probably on par with that.
Oh,
How much are they, like the brand new ones?
Well, you can't buy them new anymore. What's
They
it?
still go for damn near $100,000,
They
right?
go for old.
Yeah,
they go
you
for like.
can get, I've seen them good come down. I've seen the cheapest ones I've seen in a while are in the 70s, mid 70s.
Those
much do they
ACRs
rank
go for a ton.
But there's a difference in the trim models, and
Oh,
some
yeah,
people
yeah.
are worth it, right? Like
Yeah.
the ACR, whatever that ultimate evolution one is,
Yeah.
people pay a lot for that.
But you can get a base Gen 5, like the the lowest trim for in the 70s.
Sorry about
70s.
that.
It starts
Yeah.
at 70s.
70 grand though.
I think
would
that'll get picked up.
way rather have like.
I'd rather have a ZR1 for that price. I'd just rather have a
You're not gonna get
ZR1.
a C7.
These ones are epic deals right now.
C6 ZR1 by
Yeah.
far best bang for the buck right now.
Awesome car. Awesome car.
I've been actually really impressed with my C6 Z06. I'm sorry, Alex. I know it's not a ZR1. Alex gives me shit for this all the time that I didn't get a ZR1. But it's one of the cars like I mean I don't daily drive it, but if I had to I could.
No,
like
the C6 Z06 for that price range, it's hot. Honestly, it's hard to beat that car.
it's so much nicer than the C5 Z06. Like
Well, yeah, it's the next evolution.
No, I didn't get that impression though, right? So I cross-shopped it. I owned a C5 Z06 for not very long, 8
Oh
months.
yeah, I remember that.
And I went and I test drove a C6 Z06. It was I think it was an 07, but it was either an 06 or an 07 base model, no high trim. And I remember thinking to myself, these materials suck just
yeah.
as much as my C5, but they look nicer. Like in photos, they look nicer. But when you grab the steering wheel and touch the shifter and the doors, I was like, this is the exact same grade of plastics. And it turned me off, even though the engine was sublime. I mean, I love the engine. The LS7's a dream.
No, that is very true. It's like I took a picture. My friend had, or like a coworker had a 2010 Chevy Malibu. It has the exact same steering wheel as my Z06. Like his car was like 27 grand brand new, and mine was like 85 grand new, and it's the same thing. So it's true. But like you're right, it photographs better and looks better.
It looks a lot nicer. It looks more modern. It looks good until you feel it, and you're like, crap, it's the same stuff.
I agree with the steering wheel and the shifter, like the front. I really like the seats though. I do like the stock seats. I mean,
the C6 are terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lexus. Oh, I'm not classy enough. Oh, my bad. Some of us are poor Chevy owners over here. We can afford the nicer things in life.
We want to love Corvettes, right? We all want to love Corvettes. Who wouldn't be proud of an American badass, a semi-exotic killing car? I've always wanted one, but I didn't like owning it because I own Toyota products alongside it. You jump out of a a Lexus and you jump into your Corvette and you'd be like, oh my God, this sucks. And I always felt that way.
So even like in my like Acura TSX, like the interior is so much nicer than the Z06. Like
Sure.
it really is.
And now I've been in a C7 Z06 and
Those are nice.
It felt nice. I didn't own it. I didn't use it, but I was in it and I touched everything. And I was like, wow.
You little handsy little Joe Biden over there, you know?
Yeah, total Joe Biden. But he was inviting me to do it too. He's like, touch everything.
Well, all right, it's all right.
And I remember thinking, okay, they have improved a lot. And I just don't know if that was just an initial impression or if you would really feel that way over long term. I don't know. But I liked it. It was nice.
I think it's a real improvement, but also there's a reason why it's 350 pounds heavier.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, yeah, it's 650 horsepower, but it runs like the same kind of, overheating issue notwithstanding or whatever, like, taking all that out of it, but like actual baseline performance is not that much better than the C6 Z06 just because it's so much heavier. But it is a lot nicer of a car. Like it isn't like, I'm pretty sure I would be very happy owning one.
What do you guys think about the C8?
I was just going to ask, have any of you seen C8s in person?
I sat in one, fire one up, and then mistakenly connected my phone to their Apple CarPlay and then couldn't disconnect it.
Someone at Texas 2K.
So like, yeah, like
Paul's been testing one with Lewis at G Speed.
I've
So
seen that.
he likes it.
I've seen the G Speed car, and Lewis was even like, hey man, if you're in the area, come drive it. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm not going to be in the area, but it's a nice offer. What does he think? What are the thoughts?
He likes it. I mean, they've had 2 test days with it. They've done some mods. I think Lewis's first thing was cutting out a bunch of the weight because it's heavy.
150 exhaust.
Exhaust like over 100 pounds or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just straight piped that thing. He likes it. I mean, they've got a couple write-ups on it already, and they're still working on some new things, but they like it. So I don't know. He likes it. I haven't seen it in person yet, so.
I mean, I want to love it, right? To me, it's the Acura NSX that Acura didn't build in a way, right? But it's an American car. It's got real power. It's a mid-engine exotic killer. And the price is right, obviously, until you start lavishing a lot of options on it. But again, who buys a base model Corvette? So, I'm just kind of looking at it like it's a teaser for the next one, for the Z06, whatever, ZR1 model. And that's what we're all really getting excited for.
Yeah, the Z06 and Z01, that's where we're looking to see what they're going to do with that.
Right.
What trans are going to put behind that? Because that DCT that they have in there right now, I don't think it's rated that high. And I went to Tremec's website. I don't see anything that they have available that's handling that.
New Tremec. It'll just be a new Tremec. They're not going to do a manual. We all know that. They said technically they can't even do it, which to me is total crap, but that's fine. So it'll be some Tremec that hasn't been released yet and will be released for that car.
Yeah. I mean, for the Z06, I could probably see it because it's the same trans. That trans is also in the GT500.
Really? It's the same one?
It's at DCT.
Yeah. I didn't know it's the same one. That's really interesting, actually.
Same trans, obviously configured a little bit differently to fit in a mid-engine car, but essentially the same trans, though.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The GT500 has been kind of this dark horse. I guess horse is the pun intended, but it's packing a lot of power. It's too heavy, to be interesting to some of us. Like I could give a shit, but it's definitely doing some good things for Ford. So it's good to see that car out there. People are excited about it.
I think it should. I mean, I think the trans will be okay behind like a Z06 power car, like around 600-ish. But ZR1, when they start really up in the power, like 700-800 horsepower. I mean, the Ford, I'm not sure how much the power the GT500 has.
7 something.
Oh, never mind. Then it should be fine then, actually, because the Corvette weighs a hell of a lot less, and that's going to be a lot easier on the drivetrain.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I still like the C7 over the C8. It's so I'm not like I'm only 5'8", but I'm very wide. And the C8, like it's got that weird thing, like the all the like the gauges and instrument panel things like down the side, and there's a lot of like for me it's a lot of like reaching, whereas like the C7's like everything's just like right there. Like the C7 like interior design is way better to me than the
But
C8.
why wouldn't we all love the fighter jet Supra like C8, right? Isn't that the whole point, right? They've done this wraparound, so meaning it's supposed to invoke that
Yeah, but
fighter
it feels real
jet
cheap when you're in there.
and
Like you
things
can,
we've liked. I mean, we like Supras, so obviously that's a cool thing. But I noticed all those buttons. I mean, it's buttons galore, right? It's ridiculous. And I don't know. I've never seen one yet. I'd love to see one. I have a couple friends who have them on order locally, so hopefully I will get to check them out.
I was at a work event in downtown Chicago and I actually saw one like in the wild for the first time with like a
Oh, nice.
modified exhaust. Oh, those things sound. It's weird because like I'm not like a huge fan like the LT2 or whatever it is in there. Like I mean, it sounds okay in like the regular cars, but like I don't know if it's just because it's like mid-engine, so like the exhaust like distance to like the the actual exhaust is so much
It's
shorter.
gonna be louder. It's gonna be louder.
Yeah, it was.
Shorter path to travel.
I think they must have done something with like the firing order too. It did not sound like like a Camaro.
Oh yeah, the fire order I believe did change on that V8.
Did it? Okay.
I believe so. Let me see. Tell you 1 second.
So one of the things I want to wait for like Steve for. So when do you think the actual true manual transmission is going to be phased out of cars?
I mean, I would have guessed it would be happening right about now, but then you see stuff like the new Cadillac CT5, whatever the hell edition, coming out with the stick shift, at the end of the year. And I'm like, whoa, really? So like now you've got this almost inverse, like it used to be all the Japanese and German cars where like, oh, at least they make it with a manual. And now suddenly Cadillac's the only one in the whole segment that's going to offer a manual. Well, that's kind of cool. But it won't be much longer for the mainstream for sure, because now everybody knows that it's slower. Like it's not up for debate anymore. It used to be more like, well, not if so-and-so is driving. But now it's no longer a debatable thing. And having owned a GTR, for 4 years, it's definitely not a debatable thing. And that wasn't even a good DCT by modern standards. It was okay, but the new ones are way better than that. So if you're into performance, there's a lot of reason to love two-pedal cars because you can kind of have your Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in one car. So if you don't have the luxury of owning multiple cars, I get it. I do understand why people want a two-pedal car. The older I get, the less bothered I am by it too.
Really?
Well, you can enjoy it all the time. You get stuck in a traffic jam, cool, no problem. Whereas if I'm in my GT2 in particular, holy shit, I'm gonna have to pull off. If there's a true traffic jam, I'm getting off. I'm gonna go wait it out because it's just too much work. So meaning it's like a Supra with the most exotic clutch you can imagine, but it's just the stock clutch in a GT2, but that's how it drives. So you can't just, whiff it and go home in a putt-putt on the freeway. You're just going to be pissed off. So it's like, all right, I got to get off.
Is the clutch more like an on-off switch?
It's not that bad. It's just the pedal pressure is really high. So like it actually reminds me of an APU Supra, which of course I like, but not in a traffic jam or on a hill or something. But it's fine when you're just driving for fun. You enjoy it.
It's kind of like a chore to drive in traffic.
Correct. Just too much work in traffic. And the older you get, the less you care for that stuff. When I was 25, who gives a shit? I'm fine. I'm a badass. I'm in my Supra. Now when I'm 45, I don't want to deal with that at all. Like, forget it. I'm out of here.
At 35, that's why I don't even want to own a sport. I don't like get in my Lexus and just drive.
What Lexus do you have?
I have the LS460.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a quality ride.
Yeah, just hop in that thing and just drive. Just like tune everything out in the world.
Do you still have any sports cars?
Right now in the middle of putting together a 68 Camaro.
Cool.
Yeah, I just dropped the block off at the machine shop 2 weeks ago. Airflow Research is they just reopened, so I'm waiting for them to ship me a new set of cylinder heads. So slowly coming together, I guess. This has been a long project, overdue. I was just telling Josh and all them, it's like I've been meaning to pull this motor out 8 years ago. It took this quarantine to do it. I got it done in 2 hours.
Have you seen the movie Better Off Dead?
It's my
No.
favorite movie ever.
I think
Love that
that it's an
movie.
awesome film. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it. But I think the hero car is a 68 model, not a 69. But I can't, I'm not 100% sure about that.
Oh, Josh, to answer your question about the LS and LT, they're actually the same firing order.
Oh,
It would have been weird if they changed the firing order for GM because it takes a lot of work. So meaning I would have been really surprised. But I didn't know. I didn't know. So
I mean, it just sounds different. So
did you guys know that the Lamborghini 5.0 liter V10 that was a true Lamborghini effort in the Gallardo prior to the Audi, 5.2 liter V10, they have a different firing order and it's a big deal. So meaning when you aftermarket exhaust both those cars, I've heard them side by
They
side.
sound different.
The Gallardo's way better sounding. I mean, way
Yeah.
better. And the 5.2 liter, which is unfortunate because that's the one I'm going to end up buying because we're going to buy an R8 eventually. It doesn't make that kind of amazing V10 melody that we would all want. So I'm kind of like, I was actually doing a lot of research on that. You guys would appreciate the story, I'm sure, because we're all birds of a feather. I'm literally on these like Audi and Lambo boards, like reading like, how do you make your 5.2 liter sound way more aggressive?
how do you rice it out?
Yeah, sort of. But they all wanted to. So they're like, yeah, it's kind of lame. I want to make it sound better. But it's like just putting an exhaust on it isn't enough. And so you actually have to do the headers. But even with all of that, it won't quite sound as good as a 5 liter. So I was like,
Steve, to answer your question on that movie, it was a 1967 Camaro. So basically, it looks the same. Yeah, it
I didn't realize that. All right.
looks almost the same as mine. Then,
Okay.
yeah, they're very similar.
67 is the first year, right?
1967 was the first year. 68, they changed a couple of things, like the front end.
That was the first year of the Camaro.
Yeah, 1967.
Mustang was out first. Then they came up with
Yeah.
it a couple years later, 3 years later.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Jason, in your Lamborghini, are you happy with the sound?
Well, so on the Aventador, they have a option. It's called Lamborghini Sound, and it's a factory tune that opens up the exhaust in sport mode, and it sounds really nice. But I do have an exhaust coming on the way, which is also a valved exhaust and also a kind of like they call it a racing pipe. So like it's like a cat, like decat. And when you do that, it makes the V12 sounds like amazingly better. But
Which
the
one do
problem-
you have, Jason?
Pardon?
Which model do you have?
I've got a Lamborghini Aventador.
What year? I've driven one, so I know them a little bit.
It's a 2015.
Okay, cool. Nice car, man. That's a serious ride.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It already sounds really nice, but with the
Yes, it
test
does.
pipes, it's gonna make it really sound kind of like F1-y when you rev it up.
That'll be
Super's
amazing.
faster.
I don't know about that.
So not a lot of people get to drive Aventadors unless you own one or you're, lucky. And I got the chance, and I'll tell you, my impressions of the car weren't what you think. I kind of went into it thinking like I wouldn't really like it that much and that it would be really difficult to drive. It was actually a sweet, like it was a nice car. And I know that sounds funny, but I just didn't expect much. Like I thought it would kind of want to kick your ass all the time. But the funniest thing about the car, which Jason will appreciate more than anyone, is when you put it in its like Corsa mode or whatever the badass mode is, when it slams the shift, it feels like somebody's punching you in the back. And like I was laughing because I'm like, is this really what the damn thing is supposed to do? Like it's beating you up and you're enjoying it. Like you're getting the shit beat out of you and you're laughing because it's making all these great noises while you're going around your business. But then it was actually a sweetheart in like its down-tuned normal kind of modes. It wasn't kicking your ass. And I remember I was like, this is a nice car. It's actually a nice driving car, other than getting in and out of the damn thing, which is,
They
nightmare.
suck.
Yeah, it's a hard car to deal with, but I really thought it was nice. So that's an impressive.
That's a first, because most people when they're thinking Aventadors, just like what you said, it's a very harsh car for a lot of people. And they had, I think the earlier models, like 2012 models, they had some transmission issues and it's the the clutch and stuff like that isn't as good as like the Huracan.
Not even close. I've driven Huracan and it's like a GTR in a Lambo. You know what I mean? It's like smooth and does everything nice
I've
for
never
you.
driven a Huracan. I really want to.
You should. It's a lot of fun.
Well, because like I sort of like the newest car I've ever driven was like an LP 560, or actually it was LP 550-2, like the rear wheel drive one. And I've not been in any like sort of like newer exotics besides that.
The interiors have like gotten way better. I'll tell you that. The Huracan interior is like light years better than the.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
The blind spots are so fucking terrible on all those cars. That's the thing that got me, because you're driving someone else's car. In my case, I don't have any Lamborghinis, and you're like trying to change lanes, and I'm just like mortified. Like, oh my god. Normally this is not a big deal. For a 911 owner, I can see everything all the time. The GTR was much worse for blind spots than my Porsches, but the Lamborghinis are in the suicide leagues in terms of what you can see going behind you.
Yeah, you really got to like really get in there and look at the blind
Right.
spot.
You probably have some tricks. I imagine you know what you're doing and you have some moves, but I didn't know anything and I'm like terrified. The owner's right next to me and I'm like, ah!
The trick is just to go faster than everyone else.
I figured you'd say that. Yeah, that's the obvious thing to do.
So Alex and Steve have both owned hardtop Supras.
Yep.
So yeah, Steve. Yeah.
The best.
I want a hardtop Supra.
Wait, you own a hardtop Supra?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, so
I don't
Anna,
like
do
the
you own a
Corvette.
hardtop Supra?
Had two of them, sort of.
Wait, so
Well,
I'm the only one that's
by
never owned a hardtop-
proxy.
Wait, so I'm the only one. Oh. Well,
What just happened there?
because my question was gonna be like, so is the premium for like the hardtop Supra worth it over the Targa? And I
Yes.
feel like everyone here was gonna
Yes.
actually be a
I'd
hardtop.
say, yeah.
If you've driven both, it's like, yeah, it's like you can't even compare the two. It's so much better.
What would you say the premium is right now in today's market, though? Like, I'm not even sure I know. What would
I
you?
didn't even know there was a premium for hardtops.
Oh yeah, there's a premium for hardtops.
Oh
But
yeah,
there's a very
it's
select.
$10,000 more.
10,000?
Yeah,
Yeah. About that.
I mean at least
It's kind of hard to
I mean,
gauge it because there's been so few hardtops been for sale. Honestly, there's been very few. The most recent one was that one that you posted, Steve. Is that Brad's old car?
Which one?
The one that you just posted in California, that black one? Or
No. Well, okay. I don't know who owned it before Sean, but my friend Sean McShane owned it for like 2 years or about a year and a half. And I was going to buy it from him. Like, we had the deal all worked up. I mean, it was my car. And then he was dragging his feet because it had hatch rust, which you won't see in the auction, by the way, because he fixed it.
yeah,
So like, he's the next paint body man. Like, he's really a pro. And so he actually painted the hatch himself, but he wouldn't do it fast enough for me. And I'm like, I'm giving you, I have the money. It's ready to go. I want to put it in your hand. Give me the damn car. And he's like, I just don't know. I'm not ready. So then I found the Red Devil and I'm like, dude, this is unbelievable. I'm buying this. So I kind of made the problem go away from his perspective. And then he sold it to the guy that fall that's selling it right now. This guy, his name is Hung, and he lives in the Bay Area, and he's the one selling it on Bring a Trailer right now.
gotcha. Yeah, that car. I mean, the price have just gotten so high right now that it's sort of detracted me away from the Supras. I'd like to get back into one, but right now I'm just like, they're just so high right now. I'm just not interested. There's so many other cars I would rather get for the same money at this
Are you
point.
interested in those JDM import ones?
no,
No, none at all.
I hate right. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, so like so I Jason was all about it. But I'm like, dude, I've driven a right-hand drive car and like it's just so impractical for like everything, mainly like turning or trying to pass, things like that. And yeah, I would never own a JDM Supra. Ever.
I'm just curious what the experience is like on the other side driving a Supra. I've never done it before.
There's so many things about the right-hand drive car that I don't like. Like, first of all, on the fenders, there's blinkers on there. I don't like that. For one thing, I know it sounds like something really small.
Yeah, that'd be the least of my concerns.
Yeah, and then just having it on the right-hand side, I've never driven a right-hand side car, but I'm like, had no desire to drive on the right-hand side.
Well, another difficulty is I'm right-handed, so shifting with my left hand is going to prove to be somewhat of an issue.
Yeah, it just doesn't interest me at all to drive on the right hand side. I'm like, it doesn't. It's like I'm not that huge of a fan to be so JDM or whatever.
I just want to do it once just to like kind of feel what it's like.
I mean, for a car, for example, like a R32, R33, or R34, where you don't have a choice. I mean, I'm just gonna have to live with that.
Yeah, no. So like I said, my friend owned like an R34. I never would want to own a right-hand drive car ever. It's just a terrible experience. I would not wish it on anyone.
It was that bad that it was that bad.
So I mean, I'm Asian, so I'm not a good driver to begin with. And
See, you can't be saying that stuff. That's like,
Yeah.
But no, so you add that in you add that on top of like trying like it's just like when you're trying to like not pass, but just like like look what's going on. So like if you're on the right hand side, you're on the wrong end of like the lane. So you have to like actually just like get all the way out in the lane to like just check, and that is so annoying. And then like any sort of like like any turning, like, drive-throughs, whatever. Like I can go through Chick-fil-A and they'll throw that shit in the side anyways. But like it's everything else like on like a daily just like trying to like turn pass. It's just all a pain.
I think it's more so that you just don't know how to drive.
That could be too.
Yeah.
I think that's the major issue. Like,
I mean, it could be.
the
It could
main
be.
issue there.
Yeah.
It could be. I can't argue that one. But yeah, so actually, so you guys think that the hard tops are actually worth it? Like because they only
Yeah.
they make them in
It doesn't have all the
97,
creaks and everything. It weighs a little bit less. It just more so. It just feels stiffer. The car just feels a lot better to drive.
I think it does feel a lot stiffer. I didn't like how a
Feels
little
less stiffer. Wait, what?
More.
More stiff.
more
yeah.
stiffer. Yeah, more stiffer.
More stiffer.
More stiff.
Like it's stiff. I thought
Like they always
we're all in
say
agreement.
this.
Like it kind
Sorry.
of feels almost more responsive in a way as well. Just apart from the stiffness, it just feels better. It doesn't have all the creaks that the Targa cars have. Every Targa car I've ever been in always has like squeaks and rattles.
Mhm.
The
Right.
hardtop cars
I
don't.
could talk for 2 hours about this topic, right? I mean, there's nothing that I like more than a hardtop Supra in the world of Supras. It's just,
I know.
but when I owned my first Supra was a Targa. I owned a 300ZX twin turbo. That was my first Japanese twin turbo, badass 300 horsepower car back in '99 when I got my first real job. I bought a 90 twin turbo Z with a T-top. It had its own removable roof, but
Yeah.
better because it had the center structure. And I liked the car. I didn't have a problem with the car, but I always wanted a Supra, and I didn't think I could afford one in this kind of under $20,000 price point. The Supras that I saw were always like 25, 28, grand local. It was a little more than I could afford at the time. And then I realized if I could buy one out of state, I could save, $8,000. So suddenly I was able to buy a 94 turbo Targa 6-speed for $18,600. That was what I paid for my first car. And I bought it in Utah. And it was a Targa car. I didn't know they made hardtops. I didn't know anything really detail-wise other than I wanted a 6-speed Supra. That was what I knew to be the best of the best. And I loved that car until I learned they made hardtops, and that was it. As soon as I learned that you could buy a hardtop, that was it. I sold mine for $25,000 in 8 months of me buying it for $18,000 out of state. I sold it locally for 25, and then I put together a few extra bucks, and I bought that MSB hardtop from Sound Performance, from Ron Son. And it was already APU, it was stock fuel, but it was an SP60, single.
Yeah, it's fine.
An RPS manifold. Man, that was the coolest car ever. And I mean, for me, that set the standard very high. MSB, for those of you guys who remember, nobody liked the color. Like back then, it was a terrible.
I still don't like the color. I think it's overrated.
I like
Best
the
OEM color of all to
So
me.
Steve, here's a little secret actually. So when I looked at my trim tag on my car, you know what the original color was on my Supra? It was not Alpine Silver.
It was MSB. Yeah.
Was
It was
original?
MSB.
wow.
Somebody painted it Alpine silver. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I owned an Alpine Silver car later, and I thought I'd like the color, but I didn't. I didn't enjoy it that much. I didn't like the light color on the Supra as much as a darker shade. But
Yeah,
that
the car was
my-
actually originally a MSB car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess this is for like Steve and Anna, because like I know Jason and Alex didn't, but like, did you guys own your Supras before the Fast and Furious came out?
I
Yeah.
owned two of them, two Supras before Fast and the Furious.
So when that movie came out, what was like sort of like your thought process about all like the craziness for the Supras?
Anna, you go ahead first.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go pour myself another drink.
Do
Well, I
it.
thought it, well, like when the movie came out, I thought it was one of these, like, okay, cool. Have a car that's kind of like the car. It's the car in the movie. And then driving down in small town Texasville, and all these little racers are gathered, and they're like, oh, you got a Supra. And like you just roll up, and everybody comes and crowds around the car after the movie. And before it was like, wow, what is that? And then you have to answer all the questions, blah, 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 blah. And then after the movie, holy cow. It was like, can I touch it? Can I sit in it? Can I, just whatever. So it was kind of funny after the movie. I think there were two before the movie. And then after the movie, it was just kind of like everybody was trying to get their hands on one. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, similar to what Anna said. Obviously, everybody knew what it was. I didn't think at the time that orange, abomination of a Supra was going to really be a big deal, because we're looking at it as actual owners going, that's stupid. Like, why would anybody do that? They've literally priced out
You're hurting me right now.
and made it look terrible on the silver screen, and that's what we're famous for. So like, I didn't have this feeling at the time that it was going to be a really big deal, other than people knew what a Toyota Supra was, a fourth generation Supra. Now suddenly the secret's out, but unfortunately for all of us, in a way, it caught on too much. And then, prices obviously followed suit. But I guess it drove development of the platform. So meaning there's always a good that goes with the bad. It wasn't all bad, but it lasted for the first two films, I think. And then that was kind of it. You didn't really see him after that Afrojack Supra in the second one. It was that was the end for Supras. I think they crashed one in the one in Brazil. I think there was a Supra they wrecked, like while they were trying to do that bank heist scene. But you didn't really see it after that much. I wouldn't have suspected it would be such a big deal, but obviously that's what made the car really famous from a normal car person's point of view, because we all knew that it was a special car before that. We didn't need anybody to tell us. The secret was out with the cult of us, but then it was almost like the secret got let out to the whole world, and that wasn't really great, in my opinion. And now I think we've passed all that. That doesn't matter anymore. Now it's the damn collectors that piss me off. The collectors are the ones who I think are screwing things up at this point for the rest of us who are more enthusiasts than collector. But the problem with the collector market is the rising tide lifts all ships. And so now you've got people with, 150,000 mile ratty Mark IVs who think they're worth 80 grand. And we all know they're not, but it's almost hard to prove that to them. So you've kind of got this weird market now. And then the JDM imports have fucked that up even more. So now you've got these right-hand drive cars showing up that are mostly hardtops, which I like. But on the flip side, they're not really good representations of what we were used to in the left-hand drive world anyway. So, it's kind of a weird place. I think it's a challenging market. I try to help people navigate it, but even I'm left wondering about it a lot. Like, I don't know what's going on sometimes when I see these auction results. And that's really troubling to think, people consider me an expert. And I'm like, yeah, I've followed Supras for 20 plus years. I know them well. And I'm scratching my head with everybody else sometimes. So it's a weird place.
So I got my first Supra about a month before the movie came out.
Nice.
But it wasn't really big. So it was very Ricer of me. I got it because I saw it in the magazine Import Tuner, and I was like, that thing looks sweet. And I can so I actually was deciding between a 99 Civic Si and a MK4 Toyota
It's so
Supra.
weird, isn't it? I had people do the same thing between Honda Preludes and Mark IV Supra twin turbos, It's like that is the real world that existed in the late 90s and early
Yeah.
2000s. But now
Yeah,
you look
mine-
at it, you're like, that makes no sense.
Mine was
This
the
explains-
Celica or the Supra, and it was like, ooh.
This
And then you
explains
compare.
everything about Josh. This is why he fantasizes about this 99 Civic SI.
Josh is
This
still
perfectly
searching for
explains.
a
Now I
99
know why
Civic.
he is obsessed with this car.
So I will own one of those one day. Like I keep like that's the like one car I always look for, like on like Auto Trader, you know, like Car Gurus. I'm looking for a Electron Blue 2000 Honda
That's a good
Civic
one.
SI.
What to have, man.
Good color.
I always wanted one, and that was like so. It came down to that because like my parents couldn't understand why I wanted the '94 Toyota Supra over a 2000 Civic Si.
Sure. Wouldn't make sense to them, of course.
Yeah. Well, because like so this was like like 90 like well so I guess it must have been like 2000, but like this is a brand new car. It's got like a warranty and everything. I'm like, yeah, but ooh, the McLaren, yeah.
I always have McLaren F1s nearby me. Did you? Would you prefer a white one? Ooh, I happen to have one of those too. Ooh.
I'm not a fan of McLaren F1. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait,
Best
what?
car in the world, best car that will ever be made. Period.
So I had a ex-girlfriend that broke up with me and ended up dating Jim Carrey, and she called me and it was in his
What?
McLaren F1.
How
And since
random
that point,
is this?
what?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's fucking crazy, man.
That's pretty crazy.
yeah.
I like that story.
And so ever since then, I just don't like McLaren F1s.
Oh, get out of here.
You know, like
Best of the best.
The upkeep on that every year is absolutely
You can see
insane.
this. This will be hard to see. It's in its wrapper.
Oh
is
yeah,
it Evo?
Evo,
Nope. Nope.
Altezza.
Yes.
Oh,
Race car.
Oh.
Race car. What even says Altezza on the damn box? I can see that in the reflection, but it's a factory little 1/64th scale Altezza race car. Ooh, that's cool.
So, Anna, someone just asked who is it wearing the Texas 2K visor. So that's all you.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
Anna?
or I guess Paul. Paul.
Oh, sorry. I'm on my husband's Zoom thing. So
Yeah.
I don't usually Zoom. So
Oh, I forgot
yeah.
on live.
Yeah,
What?
no, yeah. So
Live.
it is on live. But
Oh.
yeah. So
Who
that's
the
So-
hell's watching us? What the
What?
hell?
Yeah, who's creeping on us?
Like seriously? That's funny.
yeah, just don't say anything racist or anything.
wait,
So,
wait, Josh.
I mean,
How come you have your Zoom like live feed set up so you don't see all of us, but only the person that's talking? Is that what you intended?
that's just how it goes, man.
Oh,
Well, what is that, Steve?
Jason, this is for Jason.
What is
that's
Murcielago.
that's a Murcielago with some kind of weird like thing sticking out the hood.
It's my computer mouse. This is a mouse. And it's the
That's your
best
mouse?
mouse I've ever had because
ah,
the shape of the Murcielago is perfect for a
It's
mouse.
ergonomic.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's
It's got,
wireless.
it's got a built-in like wriststand almost on that thing.
It's actually a great mouse. I'm not even kidding. So I really like it. It was
It's always a great
Yeah,
mouse.
yeah. It's a good mouse.
Where's Ryan Hawkins? Is he supposed to? Just,
So he messaged me that he was making dinner, so he's gonna try to jump on later.
you should have invited Jason Lord.
oh,
Yeah, he's hilarious. I love Jason.
Well, what's shoot Alex, you can forward him the email.
Anna, can you forward him the email? He'll more likely to respond to you.
Yeah.
Than me.
yep. I'm on it.
Nice.
So, Steve, the other question I wanted to say for you is, do you think Porsche has entered the same class as Lamborghini and Ferrari as far as exotic?
No, I don't think I'll ever think that. I think that Porsche is more for people who want to have a working man's kind of car. When you get away from their base models, it gets a little bit murkier. So meaning even the GT2, for instance, or the GT3 RS, these are well accepted in the exotic car community, but they're not really like exotics to me. I know that some owners would love for them to be exotics, and they are rare, so that they're exotic in the sense of being rare. But these are actually cars you can count on, depend on, drive every day. You know, so you really have to get into the Carrera GT, 918 Spider class. Those are exotics. I mean, those are really exotics. 911 based cars, they're not really exotic. They just punch
Pedestrian
way above
car,
their
pretty
weight.
much.
Yeah, their performance is definitely on par with exotics, but they're real cars. You can drive them all the time, short of the ride height issues. You know, a lot of them have nose lifts and things like that. My GT3 RS is a total sweetheart. If it wasn't for the low ride height and the carbon bucket seats, you could drive it all the time, any place, anywhere, no problem at all. So I wouldn't say that people think of exotics that way, even for the Aventador. It's a special occasion car. You know, no matter how nice it drives, you don't really want to go and drive it in rush hour traffic. You don't want to take it to work. You'd be worried about the car. They're event kind of cars, Sunday driver cars, special cars. Porsches, they don't really get that way. 911s, that is, you can take them wherever you want. You can have fun with them. You can count on it. Most people don't even know what it is, you know, even if it's a special one. So I personally don't think so. I think that most hardcore Porsche guys don't really get wrapped up in the exotic brand, like talking about it that way. Some might, you know, if they're buying it for image, sure. But most of us, they're just cars you can count on and have fun with.
Well, so like Anna and Steve, you guys both own Porsches. Have they been pretty reliable overall?
Super reliable.
Yeah, mine's been awesome. Like it's more of a if I want a fun family drive car, because I can fit 4. I can fit the kids in the back, and then we're in the front. And like we've driven it to a lot of places just as a daily, or when I worked at the university, I would drive it up there.
They're
Maybe like-
solid
and
cars,
the-
Josh.
to-
They're like reliable.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I didn't have any issues getting in and out of places, but it's funny, like the people that think it's an exotic car and they're like, ooh, what's that? And it's like, it's my daily car. Do you take your kids in that? Heck yeah. I can put the kids in the back. I can get groceries with it. Somebody actually stopped me when I was buying cat food once because I was putting it in the front, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm loading my cat food. And they had no idea. And it was just kind of funny because it's like, yeah, no, it's super reliable, super easy. I can go get groceries in this car. I can go to family events in this car. I can drive it in rush hour traffic. So yeah, I like it.
They're pretty rock solid cars as far as it. I mean, there's not much really that good. I mean, her generation does have issues with the rear main seal, but 997s, I think after 2007, they really didn't have any issues with the rear seal, if I'm not mistaken. 2005, 2006s kind of had that issue here and there. Not as common as the 996s, but after that, they're pretty rock solid. Except if you have to do spark plugs, they are a bitch to do spark plugs. They
You
are
guys are
not fun.
probably
They are
gonna-
not fun to do spark plugs.
You guys are probably gonna hate me, but I swore off all Porsches
Oh, why's that?
a year ago because I had a Porsche Cayenne. I love that car.
Did the coolant
Well,
pipes break on you?
I'd rock that. The 918, I'd rock that.
Yeah, that's
Back
a
to
good-
GT.
Yeah, I figured somebody would appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
had
me, the one guy who doesn't own an exotic car, so I appreciate it.
I had an older 957 Cayenne Turbo S, and I had an issue with it. And I went to a local dealership, and they treated me like trash. And after that, after I got my car back, I'm like, screw this. I'm not buying another Porsche again. I sold the Porsche, and I swore off all Porsches. I will give it this though. Porsches drive so good, and it shows. Like when you drive it, there's nothing that can compare with. It's the driving experience just feels so good. But that one time experience at the Porsche dealership made me not want to buy another Porsche ever again.
That's really unfortunate.
It really is, because my daily driver is a Model X Tesla.
Oh, cool.
What I really wanted to get was a Porsche Panamera.
Oh,
I really wanted that car. But after that, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have to go back to that dealership again.
Hey, man, we can all relate in a way to that. I know that, Brent, you know, your experience can be totally biased by some terrible thing almost outside of your control. And a dealership is something that can really poison that. I've been lucky. I've had good dealership service and good people that I've known that would take care of my Porsches. And now I know a lot of the independent shops really well. So like, I don't even want to go to the dealerships anymore. I don't care. So I've got people, I know people, but you know, you do too, right? We all get those relationships, and those relationships matter a lot. So I get it.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. And I wrote emails to like the manager, kind of not like, I'm not like a guy that like swears, or it's a cordial email and saying, hey, this is what happened, what you guys can improve on, and this is what it made me feel. I didn't get any kind of response at all.
Shame on them, man. That's terrible. They lost you as a future customer, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Like for sure they lost me already.
That's too bad.
It's very sad.
So let's talk about the Tesla a little bit, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, I've still never driven one.
Oh, they're fun.
And part of
So
that is
fun.
intentional, right? Part of that is intentional because I don't want to want one, right?
Yes.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. There's no soul. It has no soul.
Right.
But it's
If
so
the
fun to
driving
drive.
experience is really great. We'll probably forgive the lack of soul for a daily driver. So I can even admit that. And my friends that have Model 3 performances, they are all like, dude, if you drive the car, you're going to buy one for sure. And I'm like, okay, don't ever come over. I don't want to have anything to do with the car. But I'm curious too. Like part of me is like, okay, how much would I really like a Model 3 performance, right? So I'm not talking about the X or even the S, but the Model 3 performance is definitely the one that if any of them is going to lure me, you know, of existing models, I don't think I'd own a Roadster for other reasons, but I'm curious. So I'd love to hear from an owner, you know, what are your thoughts on the Tesla experience?
Well, I got my first Tesla back in 2015. I had a Tesla Model S back then. It was a P85D. And back then it was super fast already. It was a performance model. It wasn't ludicrous. Maybe it was ludicrous back then. I didn't like it because, I didn't really put into words what it was until you just said it didn't have a soul. And I think that says it right there. It really doesn't have a soul. It was fast as hell, but back then they were plagued with quality issues. Really, really bad. Luckily, I leased it. So by the time the 3 years was over, I said, you know what? I don't want another Tesla ever again. Because like I spent a lot of time at the dealership or the service center, what they're called. And I'm like, I'm done. Like, it's a brand new car and let them work their kinks out first before I do another one. So years passed by and then a friend of mine got their Model 3 and I sat in it and I'm like, wow, they really fixed all these issues. And the interior quality is so much better than before. And the car just feels great. So that made me get my Model X. And I got the, it's like P100, like all-wheel drive, ludicrous motor, whatever, 0-60 in like 2.8 seconds. It's my daily driver. And the autopilot is so much better than before. When I go to work, I just get on the highway, I put on autopilot, and I don't have to worry about it for the next like 20 minutes. I just sit there.
Doesn't that scare you though? Like to me, that's weird. So I'd like to hear more about that.
It is very weird in the beginning, but I've had autopilot since like 2016 when they turned it on. So I've kind of conditioned to use it already. I already know what it feels like, and I think I trust it way more than I should. Because I don't even look at
That's what I worry about. You just summed it up, right? That's how the people have died in the freak accidents. I mean, obviously, thank God there haven't been that many of them, but like they're like checked out. They're doing their own thing, whatever it may be, and the car makes a bad decision based on whatever, and they're dead. And so it's kind of like, to me, how can you get over that? To me, that's bizarre.
Well, it's an ever developing technology, and that's why I actually I leased these cars, because I know that like in like 3 years they're actually going to be so much better. So a lot of these accidents that happened in the beginning, they were on earlier hardware versions.
Sure.
They didn't have the same amount of sensors as they do now.
Right.
The ones that they have now, I forgot what version hardware it is. Maybe I think it's like 3 or something like that. They can see everything. Like on my dash, you can see the red light, stop sign, everything. And right now it doesn't stop for it, but there's a beta out there that will stop for it. And eventually, like they say, it has full self-driving capability, and it'll stop for the stop sign, stop for pedestrians, stop for red lights, and do all that. And I think you can really trust it. They say that you should be able to trust it more than like your eyeball, because they can actually see things that are behind objects too. That's what they're saying. So they're saying that the reaction time for the vehicle to stop and stuff like that is faster than what you can do.
Well, we all know that that's possible. My problem is knowing that it's going to make the right choice. So let's get into the philosophical problem real fast, because this is what always comes up if you take it out to the extreme. What if you're in a situation where the baby stroller goes out in front of you and there's another car coming and you have to make a decision about which one you're going to hit, right? That's always the crux of AI, is like, how is it going to choose? Whereas a human, as flawed as we are, we can make some value-based decision there in the heat of the moment. We may not execute it as well as a machine, but we're going to be able to think fast if we're not impaired. Whereas the machine, it can only do what it's programmed to do. And so this is a weird problem. And of course, this problem has to get solved over time for the human race, going to AI and all the things that are coming. But I really get interested in that stuff. To me, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about are cases like fringe cases, things
They
that
are. Yeah, that's true.
okay. And I think so. It's been a long time since Elon Musk has promised people, hey, we're going to do autopilot, we're going to do self-driving. The reason why is because he's collecting a whole bunch of data right now on currently people using autopilot. Where on this intersection that people tend to slow down on, or like, why do people drive this way when the sensors say the other way? So over time, they will know, okay, on these kind of particular intersection instances, this is what a human would do, so that maybe we should program the car to do more human things. So as the autopilot progressed, they actually started displaying more and more things. Back in the day, autopilot only displayed other vehicles on the road. Now on the display, it'll know if it's a bike, if it's a pickup truck, if it's a van, if it's a semi truck, if it's a garbage bin, if it's a traffic cone. It'll know everything. It'll actually display it on the little thing. So I'm assuming that they have different values of, so am I going to run into a traffic cone, or if I'm going to run into a semi truck?
Steve,
right.
by the way, so Ruben from Superforum says hello.
What's up, Ruben? How you doing, brother?
So he took some like really amazing pictures of Chicago Supras.
I know Ruben. Yeah, he does awesome skylines, man. I look at his Chicago photography. We're Facebook friends, and I always enjoy seeing his photography. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, he does some good stuff. So he says, "What's up?" I don't know, like basic things like Tesla for me. Like, they're great cars. They look good, but I refuse to. Maybe getting to be like an old man. I refuse to get with the times. Like, I know plenty of people with Teslas, but it's just like, people with Teslas just don't get it. It's like an iPhone, or something like that. Like,
here's the problem. You can't say Jason doesn't get it. He's got a goddamn Aventador as his other car.
well, yeah, okay,
He does get it.
but
He wants both.
Yes.
That's okay. But we need to wake up to this, because the future, unfortunately or fortunately, is full of this stuff more than it's full of Aventadors and GT3.
Yeah, so Jason's a special. Yeah, so he's got his single turbo Supra and his Aventador.
Right.
But most Tesla owners are not. If every Tesla owner was like Jason, then hey,
no, I agree. I agree.
Down. But
I don't worship at the altar of Musk myself, although he's a sharp dude. So meaning I do pay attention, even if I disagree, because obviously people like him don't come along that often, once a generation kind of thinkers. He's thinking up shit that we're not bothered by in the next 50 years. Meanwhile, I'm caring about what's happening next week. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's very impressive to me that there are people like Elon in the world, whether or not I agree with what they're building and what their vision of the future is. I mean, the dude is concerned with Mars and what he's going to do on Mars. This couldn't be more different than me thinking about what I'm going to do next week, right? But it's a good thing that we have people like Elon Musk as well. So I do want to pay attention to what he thinks is incoming, because he's actually going to make it happen. He's architecting our future for better or for worse. And that's a crazy thought. but
Yeah,
it's true.
he's driving all the other manufacturers to kind of compete against that too, and that's
And you can see that coming full circle. Whereas when he launched Tesla, you're kind of like, this guy's lost his mind. What the hell? But now, you know, a decade later, however long it's been, you've got the infrastructure he's built for the supercharger stations, the refinement of the car, the refinement of the AI, the gathering of the data. He's got the biggest head start in the
Yeah,
world.
he's like way ahead.
So it's actually almost embarrassing if somebody beats him at his game. So like where I think people will beat him, and let's talk about Porsche because that's the obvious competitor with the Taycan. So the Taycan to me, I would buy it every time over a Model S if you could put the money aside. The problem is it costs double, right? If you're calling for like
Oh, wait,
performance
does it really
model.
cost double?
Yeah.
Roughly, not fully,
Oh, I
but
know that. I
a
knew it
lot
was more
more.
expensive, but I
A
thought.
lot more.
Oh.
And so meaning if you want the Taycan Turbo S, it's like 185 grand or, you know, something like that. So it's a lot. But for sure, I'm going to like the car 100 times better. But how do you justify the price difference? Because at the end of the day, it's for an enthusiast who loves the Porsche DNA. That's why I would love it better. But, you know, you can't really say it's worth the extra money, even as a car enthusiast. I'm just hoping that the trickle down happens faster. And so, you know, 5 years from now, you've got priced cars that, you know, other people could afford, not 185 grand, maybe it's 85 grand, and you can get most of that experience. And that would be okay. I'd be all right with that.
So when do people think that autonomous driving cars are going to be the norm?
I don't want to fucking think about it for a second. I think
I
it's
agree.
bullshit. I hate it. I don't even want to go. Like for me, the only way it makes sense at all is if they've got their own, like if you go to a city border and now it's like the land of autonomy, that's fine. But for me to go out and drive on the public road and worry about this shit and vice versa, obviously they're going to worry about me more than I'm going to worry about them. You know, I can't stand the thought. And yeah, it's me as the old man who's used to shifting for myself, definitely. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with that shit. Can you imagine? Like, think about this. You're in your autonomous car doing whatever, 50 miles an hour, who cares? And you just want to go around someone. Can you? Can you tell it to go around someone? What if it can't? What if it won't? Right? So my vision of the future is one where free will and choice goes on the wayside. I mean, far on the wayside. And you don't have, you're just sitting there. You might as well read a book, man. You might as well check your email. You might as well work because there's no more interacting with driving. It's the car communicating with all the other cars with 5G or 6G or whatever the hell G exists at the time. And they're all just figuring shit out to avoid each other and stay close to one another and do whatever they do. You don't matter at all. You are nothing in this equation. It's just taking you somewhere. I don't like that at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, well, actually, let me back that up. So I really like it for like taking me home from the bars. That'd be like if
Yes.
if it did that, I would buy one like right now. But everything else, like again, like there's no soul in it. You know, like electric cars, autonomous cars, like it's it's for like
You
people
can
wearing like
fix the
skinny
soul.
jeans. And
You can fix the soul piece. It's taken away the free will that I don't like.
can you fix the soul part?
Yes. They're
How?
already doing it in the aftermarket. I'm not worried about that. Whereas 2 years ago, I would have been in your shoes going, fuck it, it's all junk. I don't want anything to do with it. Look at the Bisimoto E935 I posted on Facebook last week. That car is insane. And I would want one tomorrow. I mean, I want it now, but it's not an autonomous car. It's just an electric car.
What is it called, Steve?
Bisimoto, the tuner.
Just like, oh, I'm gonna go buy one. Like,
Wait, what's that?
E935. I literally posted the build, not the build video, but like a guy goes and independently test drives it with Busy. And it, I mean, it's one of the coolest cars I've ever seen in any era. And it's an fully electric Porsche 935.
so what's the worst thing everyone here has done to a car? Mine's the worst, so I'll save mine for last. What's the worst thing everyone here has done to a car?
Like mod wise,
Sure, yeah. Mod wise, like, what's the worst thing everyone's done? I mean,
I mean, gotten in a car accident. If that's what you mean.
that's not a mod.
Oh, worst mod I've ever done.
thinking, but I mean, decontenting a Supra beyond all get out is probably the worst thing I've ever done in just taking content out of a car beyond the point of, no return, right? Because when you look at it, especially now, you're like, that car is probably in a junkyard somewhere. It's unlikely somebody really fixed that. But in my defense, someone had already put a fuel cell on the car before I bought it. So
You
meaning
just have to. Yeah.
there were things done to the car that I wouldn't have done, but I bought the car and then I continued along on my merry way, pulling stuff out, just, weight reduction.
So am I really the only ricer here?
No,
So
I had a Honda. And
Yeah. Okay. So what's the worst thing you ever did in your Honda, Anna?
well, I had a Honda hatchback that it was a daily back in college that I was
it
like,
EJ?
oh, I'm gonna make it a
It's like
drag
CRX,
car.
like
So
like what kind of Honda hatchback?
no, it was just it was just,
EK or EG?
I don't remember. It was and I stripped out the interior and got bored with it because it had the red interior, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't even want to mess with this. I don't even want to look at the motors for these. And so I just shoved it all back in and sold it as is. And then I had a commuter car when I was working in college that was another just base Honda Civic. And I think that got one of those cheesy wings on it. And then when I got my 4Runner after that, I went through this kind of lowrider phase of I wanted to lower my 4Runner and put some wire rims on it at like
Oh, God.
26-inch rims. It didn't happen, but I
Wait,
thought
tell me
about
more
it.
about
so.
this desire to put wire rims on a 4Runner.
No.
This is the Texas
no.
coming out of you right now.
Ugh,
This is
no.
the Texas. This is like Houston style right here.
I don't know what I was thinking with that, but I was just like in love with wire wheels and
It's
college
Texas.
and
'Cause you're in
I
Texas.
guess, but everybody wanted the lifted trucks. And I'm like, no, let's lower it, put some rims on it. And so
I really want a lifted truck. I
you
want.
want a lifted truck?
Yeah, I
Josh,
want.
you should just buy a Raptor.
Dude, Raptors
Oh, those
so
are cool.
expensive.
Yeah, you should get a Raptor.
Like,
Do it.
anyway, so like back to the worst thing I ever did to a car. I had a '92 Honda Accord. I know Alex knows this story.
Oh, I do know this story.
Yeah, so Steve, this is way before I joined Super Forums. So this is long ago.
It's a judgment-free zone, Josh. It's okay.
It's what?
It's a judgment-free zone. It's okay.
Yeah, safe space. God damn it! I put a GTR badge and a Type R badge on my Honda Accord.
That's funny. I mean, you guys, are you familiar with Volkswagen Scirocco's? I assume
Yeah,
yes.
I remember the Scirocco.
So I used to have a 1982 base model Scirocco, and they came out with a car called the Wolfsburg Edition.
Yeah.
This is way before the internet, people.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to a dealership and bought the actual Wolfsburg badges and put them on in the correct locations. So I had my fake, Wolfsburg Edition car. But that is the German equivalent of the Type R badge, putting it on a non-Type R.
Yeah, it's like the higher end trim.
Okay, right?
But like at least that was like the right car. Like again, like I had a GTR badge on my Accord.
Sure.
Yeah, all right. So
It's
I'm
funny,
trying
though.
to think of like the worst thing I've done. I think it was my Z28. It was trying to modify the 305 engine that was in there. That was the worst mistake I ever did in my life. Waste of time.
What did you do?
I basically put every bolt-on mod on that motor. It was just a waste of money. I should have just swapped the motor out.
Well,
It was just a complete waste of time to do all those mods. I could have just bought an LS engine at the time and swapped in. So it's probably the worst thing that I've ever done.
so
Well,
for the non Chevy owners here, what do you like more, the LS7 or the LS9?
Never
LS.
driven an LS9.
LS9.
Oh God, just right in the heart.
LS7 is a work of art, man. That's an amazing motor. I really loved how it revved. It was a motor in search of a better platform, in my opinion.
Hey.
Another dagger.
I don't like C6. I'm not anti C6, but that engine was too good. It was a jewel. So I really liked it.
Do you guys remember like back because when it came, 2006, like on super forums and stuff, and then it's like, holy shit, this car is like, it's like, it's relatively cheap, and it came out. Yeah, you and your damn Porsches, Steve, do you have driving gloves? Do you have driving gloves when you drive?
No,
No.
now they're Corona gloves if you have them, but no, I don't have any.
Dude, the roads are really wide open these days. I was out today earlier, and it was,
It's
nice.
great. It's great. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
a couple, like 70 to 130 poles.
Dude, I hit
Hey.
like 140 inside the LS on the highway.
Take you like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I actually got there pretty quick. The car's got the balls to it. It's not slow. It's not slow.
Wait, speaking of ridiculous mods for a car, what do you guys think about the RWB body kits?
I've been to
Oh.
the builds, man. I've been to the builds.
I don't even know what that is.
It's amazing. It's
The Rutwells?
It's amazing.
I've always wanted one.
The RWBs, yeah, they're pretty cool. I like them.
I mean, I have a bottle signed by Nakai, a bottle of Stella that he signed for me at one of the, builds. They're awesome cars. And whenever I see people who hate on them, I get it, right? We don't all need to like the same things. That's fine. That's part of being an enthusiast. But the amount of work and craftsmanship is not what people think. They think he's just sitting there and like in 10 minutes he does this job. It's actually a labor of love, man. And when you watch him build one, you'd be honored to own that car. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I always wanted to like buy one or have.
What the hell's RWB? What's even for RWB?
Well,
like
it stands for Raw Welt Begriff, but nobody says that. You just say RWB. You take a G body car or 964 as I guess probably the most.
Oh, okay.
Take the 964 and you cut the fenders off on the front and the rear. You put on the very, very large. And what I didn't know is everyone I've seen has been riveted, right? It has the rivets. You can do smooth fenders. So like it is an option, but he can't finish it that way on site. So that's why most of them are riveted. When you see a smooth body RWB, it'll actually change the way you think about them. It's much more factory looking. It's very nice. But I get why people like the rivets. The rivets are pretty badass. They're tough. They look good. The weird thing about RWB though is that he makes some decisions for you, but you have to make a bunch of decisions too. And whereas the powertrain is concerned on the car, he doesn't touch it. So meaning a lot of these cars really are stock 247 horsepower, 3.6 liter air-cooled motors. And they have these just extravagant body kits, huge spoilers. The thing looks like it could do 250. And in reality, it's got a 247 horsepower flat six. So it's kind of like a weird letdown in a way, but the image is there. It's beautiful. It's aggressive. And they're a family, just like Supra owners. Mark IV owners are a family. They look after each other. It's a pretty cool community. And most people don't see that. It's a cool group.
Oh, I didn't know there was a community. That's
yeah. They get together with all the cars. They always support each other on the builds. You'll get like other RWB guys going to your build. So you'll have like a support group of like, 5 other RWBs there. Your car is numbered. It's usually documented really well. It's actually really special. And people who see the end result and just have an image of it or an opinion, they're not really seeing the whole picture in why you fall in love with that car. It's not for everyone. It's aggressive. It's over the top. But if you understand the culture behind it and the people behind it and what makes them passionate, it's badass. And so I always defend it. It's amazing.
How much does it cost to get like
less than you think, but there's hidden costs too. So like I think the basic price to have Nakai come it's actually much cheaper than you think. It's something like 30 grand, or something like that. But you need to get all the paint work arranged ahead of time. If you're going to do any mechanical mods, you need to do it ahead of time. You can make the thing expensive easily, but if you already had a 964 and you weren't, content to leave it on stock fenders and you were okay with doing the RWB, it's really not that bad. That's why I laugh when I see them for sale, because I've seen some really high prices on asking prices, and I always wonder what they actually sell for.
Yeah,
So it starts at 30 grand essentially. That's like with just the basic kind of body kit and Nikai coming to you.
Yeah, and there's some unknowns in there because you're putting the guy up for a few days. You're probably feeding the guy. He's making a living off of this, and he is an artist in every sense of the word. He's an interesting guy. He's
You have
fun
to,
to
you have to
watch.
pay the shop fees to kind of let him use their shop too, right? I'm
The
assuming.
ones that I've been to, one was at a private owned garage that was large enough to kind of host the event, but it was the person who's having it made. It was his space. He actually owns a crazy Supra, fucking nutty Supra. Every year I always ask him, like, are you going to bring it to Vegas? Can I take it for you? Can we just get your car to Vegas? I want to see your car in Vegas. You guys would all lose your minds on this Veilside fortune bodied
God,
car.
I hate Veilside.
Crazy how badass this car is. You would respect it if you saw
Oh,
it. It's
no, I'm sure I respect it. But so,
nth degree.
show of hands. Does anyone here, like, I know it was cool back in the day, but does anyone here really like the Veilside body kit?
I do.
I used to
car.
back in
I
the
like
day. I
it.
used to.
It's,
I love the Veilside body kit. I know it's over. It's like crazy, but
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I'm not too huge on
Josh
it
is
now,
so
but
salty right
I
now.
used
I mean,
to.
like, I used to really like it a lot, but like,
This is when I used to like body kits. Now I don't really, not a huge body kit person anymore.
I still really like the Duloc on the Supra. I still like the
Oh, I
Duloc.
love the Doluk. Yeah, Doluk is great
Hey.
too.
somebody asked if it was Ken Henderson's car, that one I put on the auction. I was like, what the hell, man? Like, how could you possibly, think that Ken Henderson's Duloc wide body car is this car? It's like,
Yeah, they're like two totally
Wait,
different cars.
hey, does Ken still have his car?
fuck yeah, he's got 3 or 4, man. He's
Oh,
got
really?
the best Supras you've ever seen.
I
His
remember.
cars are so nice. There's no words for it. He's got the best of the best of the best. Period.
He
End
has
of
the black one, and then he got the red one. Which other ones does he have now?
He's got bauxite. That's an MSB hardtop that I've ridden in. And it's out of control how nice that car is. It's better than new. And you say that. People say shit like that, like it's better than new. Dude, Ken's cars are all better than new. They are the best of the best ever.
So, Alex, when me and you were driving the other day, and you said that like SPE doesn't do Supras anymore, and they only do
You
like.
if you're on the list.
Yeah,
yes, he's
so
he's
actually
like,
at
Ken
SEMA,
Henderson
I was-
can probably get his shit worked on anytime he
Yeah.
wants.
So at SEMA, I met one of the guys at SP, I think Edward. I was partying with him. Me and him we were getting some dances at Sapphire together. Yeah. So I met him through Zohair because I was with him at SEMA, and we were just all partying together, and that's where I met him. I was like, "Oh, SPE." He's like, "Yeah." Oh shit! Wow, SPE. I didn't know. As I knew you guys were still around, but I haven't heard of anything through you guys. He's like, "Yeah, it's because we only kind of do work for select clients now. We're not really open to the public anymore."
That's right.
Yep.
What does SPE do now these days?
Exotics.
Yeah, they still have a steady like client base, but it's all like they already had their own. They don't need any outside work. They select who they want to work with now at this
They're
point.
kind of like underground racing where, when they were up and coming, they had like regular people coming and you want to tune a GTR, sure, we'll help you with that. A Viper, we'll help you. And then they evolved the model over time and basically created their own niche. And so SPE has basically done the same thing on the West Coast, but they don't look for notoriety as far as I'm concerned, the way that UGR would. Obviously, UGR makes a very, very conscious marketing effort to go to half-mile events, Texas 2Ks, to showcase what their cars can do. And let's be honest, those people writing those unlimited checks, they want to do something with those cars, even if it's once a year. And those cars, if you've never seen them, I know I'm talking to people in Texas here, so you've probably seen them in person. There is no way to put into words what those cars are actually like when you're standing next to them and they're lighting off. It's like the goddamn space shuttle Columbia. I'm in my little Porsche, and this thing might as well be alien space technology next to what I'm driving. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I mean, so I don't know the whole like Texas crowd that much, but I know like Alex, you do. You had some very interesting things to say about Underground.
What do you mean?
Some interesting comments about Underground and their practices.
I mean, I'll keep that offline, off the record on there. I mean, just a lot of the stuff. I mean, just
Well, they've got a legal department, right? So
Yeah.
they don't let you do what you want necessarily. But from what I've been reading lately, they have backed off on that
they
quite a lot.
have.
Yeah, so it's not like it was when they were kind of just up and coming. They'll let you do things with the car now, and it seems pretty permissive. You guys all know this if you're following the same Facebook groups I am, but they've kind of made a conscious decision to get more into drag racing recently than just roll racing, because we know they're the roll racing grand champions of the world. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't,
Well,
you
yeah,
can't
you're not gonna
touch
be.
that. There's nothing that can touch that. So they're there for a reason. But when you get into drag racing, there's a lot more going on, and it's much, much harder, obviously, on the car to launch. And so they're gonna do more of that. Meanwhile, you've got shops like AMS and T1R and Boost Logic all kind of coming out with their, let's just call it medium level kits, for Huracans and R8s and things like that. So it's going to get more interesting. You got real competition coming, not for the high end, those 3,000 horsepower cars. I don't think anybody's going to be playing in that space. You don't get there easily, right? That's a big deal to get to that point.
Yeah.
The parts, the tuning, all the special shit they've learned. Of course, they want to keep that, very, very much in their court. But the amount of check you have to write to play in that league, it's extraordinary. And so for most of us, who live in the real world, we're not ever going to be buying, and I'm not trying to speak for any of you, I am never going to be
No.
buying.
Oh yeah. Hey man, I got a Corvette, man. I ain't
$1
rich.
million car. It's not going to happen. I'm just, even if I had the money, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't spend it that way. So it's interesting, their crowd, the people drawn to that. Whereas when you start going, okay, for 200 grand, I can have a 1200 horsepower, R8. Hey, that's different, right? That's a different conversation. So I think you're going to see more competition in that space. It's starting already.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of shops that are coming out with like kits and stuff like that for like the Huracans and the Gen 2 R8s for sure. Boost
And
Logic actually.
And I won't name a name, but I've heard that one of the goals is to do a bolt-on kit that you can install as a DIYer, and that's never been a place that Underground
Yeah.
is.
So that's what Boost Logic is doing right now. Actually, they
I wasn't
actually.
going to say their name.
Yeah, so they when I was down there, they were finishing up their kit. They have when I was there last month, they had an R8 in the shop and a Huracan in the shop that they finished. They were finishing up the kits. They dynoed it last week or a couple weeks ago. They did 835 to the wheels.
I saw that.
Yeah, and
835 is not bad.
yeah, that's about pretty much close to what the stock trans and everything is capable of handling without doing any upgrades.
Is that on the all-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive?
I'm not sure on. Actually, they converted to rear-wheel drive to dyno it.
Okay.
They don't have
Like a
all-wheel drive.
DSM. Like a
What's that?
DSM, they just unhook the transaxle.
Yeah. So they unhooked the drive shaft to it. So it's in rear-wheel drive mode when they put down the 835 because they don't have a all-wheel drive dyno anymore.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah. Because they got rid of their all-wheel drive dyno a while ago. Actually, they actually had two dynos at the shop. They had they got this all-wheel drive dyno they bought from Cobb Tuning. The thing just took up so much shop space. Took up a massive amount of shop space. It just wasn't making them any money. It wasn't profitable for them to have that thing. So yes, it was convenient, but it wasn't able to read the amount of horsepower that they needed that their cars were putting out. I mean, the average build that's coming out of their shop now is like 14, 15 wheel horsepower. So, I mean, and that dyno at the time, I think it only read up to 1200.
Flatline.
Yeah, flatline.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, like when Marco Super put down 1500 and flatline the dyno, like that was like the big thing. And like now it's like basically if you can't do that, you're like, you're slow as shit.
Yeah.
especially in Texas. Watch out.
Yeah, I mean, like Anna, you got to deal with that, like living down in Texas. Like, I mean, I'd be scared to floor it next to anyone down there.
I know, right? Because you don't know. So
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah. I mean, like basically, like I think besides, Jason's got his single turbo super, Steve's got his, like his GT3.
Dude, my stuff's slow. I don't
Yeah,
hang with
but
this
like-
crowd at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that stuff's all slow in Texas.
Oh,
yeah.
come on, dude. 10 years ago, they were doing 1,000 wheel, and and that was okay. Now it's like if you don't have 2,000, you're kind of like, whatever.
Yeah,
At
no,
least at the meets, at least at the like Texas 2K, maybe not day to day, but dude, at the meet, forget it. You're just a wannabe at that point.
yeah. So Anna, like day to day, like in Texas, like, the only videos that we probably all see is like the Texas 2K meets, and it's like basically like, yeah, if you're not putting down like 1,500, you shouldn't even come play.
Yeah, seriously. Like when I was looking at the list of all the cars that were coming in, I'm like, geez, like there were a couple 800 horsepower, 9. You're like, oh, that's nice. And it's like, okay. And we're like 14, 16, 18. And it's like, geez.
So
Yeah.
what do you see daily around there, like around your area?
A lot of Hellcats. Well,
So, well,
yeah.
like, I guess like my question is
And,
like, so
like,
on a day-to-day basis, is your car actually like, so like my car, like just out on the road, I can probably like, if I wanted to, like bikes notwithstanding, could probably beat like 80% of what's out there. But like in Texas, like what do you feel like when you go around?
well, when I go around, like, because it's so spread out, right? So a lot of the time, if the Supra does make it out, there aren't a whole lot of people. Like if I were in Dallas, there'd be a lot of people that would roll up and have way more horsepower than me and probably romp me on the highway. But like if it's Austin, I haven't had any problems as far as like if someone rolls up and they're not that fast. But well, not lately, but in past years, last couple of years, when it has gone out, it's like nothing has really rolled up. That was a challenge. But if it's in Houston or Dallas, then yeah, you get some. I mean, you'll just get like some sleeper cars or some domestics that'll roll up that you don't know.
Sleeper cars are the worst. I hate sleeper cars.
Yeah.
Why? Could you lose to them, Josh?
What?
Is it? Can you
Well,
lose
no,
to them?
so I have respect for sleeper cars, because it's like kind of like whatever like old like Honda Civic used to be, but like it's just like oh, I beat a Lamborghini. It's like yeah, but like I'd still rather have a Lamborghini. No one here cares. Like yeah, I can see all of you just like blank looks like you're an idiot.
I mean, yeah, take it for face value, what it is. I mean,
But,
it's
like-
impressive what the guy did with his car to make it perform that way, and not.
Jason, have you ever lost to a Honda?
What?
Have you ever lost to a Honda?
Sure, but you probably weren't really racing either, or it was just not a very modified Honda. You're not going to see a lot of those with big horsepower where I live, but I'm not going to race every Honda I come across anyway. Like in my IS300, I'd be more likely to be trying to race a Honda. If I'm on my GT2, I'm just going to not pay any attention to the guy.
Do you have a 2JZ GT in your IS300, Steve?
Oh, it's just GE powered, but I have as much fun with that car as I had with my early Supras, and it'll be turbo powered one of these days. I'm gonna hold on to this one.
I was a big fan of the IS300.
Oh, I'm
I
a
like
huge
the
fan.
IS300s.
I want to get one.
They're just kind of hard to find like a nice shape one. Is the problem.
You guys can't believe the shit that goes on in that community. Yes, you're also in a similar community like the Honda groups. That would have some real parallels. But like you've got people offering $800 for complete running cars. And I'm just looking at them like, what the fuck? I just bought a $900 stereo for my IS300. You're buying the whole car for that price. And they think it's a great car. And you're like looking at it, you're like, good Lord, man. Like there's nothing left. You probably won't make it home, and that's in a Toyota. So, I mean, it's just lived a very, very hard life, but the price ranges are incredible because, they start at under $1,000 and, they'll go to 10 grand, 15 grand for a rare sport cross, which I don't care for personally, but the sport cross is the one that everybody wants. if it's in primo shape. So
What's the
Why is
Sport
the
Cross?
Sport
Is that
Cross?
the War Wagon?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
the
the
wagon.
wagon. Yeah.
I don't like
Oh.
those at all.
I don't like wagons. I can't do
I
wagons.
like wagons, but I don't like that wagon. I would get like an AMG E63
No.
wagon.
Nope.
I would definitely get one of those.
Mm-mm.
DTSV wagon with the 6 speed. Go baby.
Yeah.
No wagon. I love. So I really want a 2009 to like 2013 CTSV, like the regular one, not the wagon. I just don't like wagons. Like I don't like the RS7 wagons. Like all. I don't do.
Oh, I would definitely rock an RS7 wagon or an E63
So
wagon.
fast, dude. They're
Yeah.
crazy.
Badass. You should get a CTSV then, Josh. Instead of this E92 M3, just get a CTSV. I would fully support you on that.
Well,
6 feet too. They're pretty hard to come by.
my problem with that one is really just like it's kind of like just doubling up on what I have. You know,
No,
it's
it's
like,
completely two different cars. One's a sports car and one's a family sedan car.
well,
The only thing similar
They're
is
still-
the
they're
is the
still both
engine
like
family.
Chevy
It's
small
the only
blocks.
thing similar is the engine family. They're both LS base motors. That's the only thing similar.
I mean, they're still very similar though.
No, they're not.
I don't know. You have a
Explain.
small block Chevy. I mean, so I will say the BMW and the Mercedes V8s don't sound nearly as good as like a Chevy small block or like.
I think they sound great. You ever
I don't
heard
know
of
about that, dude.
Yeah,
They
C63.
sound really good.
Yeah, Mercedes V8 sound great.
Yeah, AMG stuff's hot.
Yeah.
Not to own, like I don't want one. But they sound good. They sound really
Yeah.
good.
It's only on the top 10 rated best sounding V8s in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're amazing. The
C63.
hardcore stuff is really good.
I mean, I do like so I've sent Alex many C63 AMGs that I've thought
Yes,
about
you have.
buying. But like they like all those like exhausts on them, they don't sound like it's kind of in between like you have the exotic like Ferraris and Lambos with like really like high winding like V10 V8 V10 V12s. And you have like the Chevy small blocks, Fords, like the low revving, really like lopey cams, shit like that. And like the European V8s, like the M3s and like the like the
I think they sound
C63.
great, honestly. I think they
What?
sound. I think they sound great. Like the RS4 with exhaust sounds amazing.
I think they
M3 with exhaust, I think sounds pretty damn good. The C63 sounds amazing with exhaust on there.
Yeah.
I think they sound kind of like a Civic.
No.
No,
Not even close.
Oh man.
no.
Oh man.
Josh, lay off the crack tonight, please. Just lay off the crack, please.
No, this is not okay. Not
Completely
like
lay
a Civic,
off
but
the
they're like
crack.
they're a lot.
Hit
like,
it tomorrow.
They're like a lot more hollow sounding than like a like.
Just-
I think you're
Drinking LS Kool-Aid over there, aren't you?
yeah. You've been
And I
hanging
mean,
out
I
with the
like
LS
that.
boys too long. You've been drinking.
LS,
I mean,
dude, LS7, baby. I'm in. I'm good.
That's
Yeah.
a great engine.
yeah, it's an amazing engine, but man, for you to knock all those other V8s, man, oof, you've completely.
I would. Well, okay. First of all, if we're just comparing V8s, I'd put the LS7 against any naturally aspirated V8 out there.
It's good, but I don't know that it's the best of the best. There's some really good stuff out there.
So, all right. So, what would you take over the LS7?
Well, I like the LS7. I like 7-liter all aluminum V8 very much. So I'm not suggesting it's a shitty engine by
Oh
any
yeah,
means.
no.
I really like them, and I would put it in a lot of other cars. I have a friend who did an LS7 swap on a 3rd gen RX7, and that was
Yeah.
about the coolest thing I've ever seen in my
So
life.
RX7s suck.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let me think about that because I you're right. It is a pretty special engine. So I'm trying to think of some good competitors for it. Maybe some
Like,
others who have some better ideas.
Some other V8s that are in our price range that everyday common man can buy, or
No, just think about V8s in general.
how about the one in the 458 Italia?
Yeah, that's actually one of the best engines ever developed. If you guys ever watch whatever Jason Fenske's Engineering Explained, he did one recently on that mean brake, whatever effective pressure, whatever it was, MBEP. And the Italia was off the chart. It was one of the absolute best engines there is. What the hell was that acronym? Anyway, MBEP, something like that. Very good video to watch. Very interesting. Highly recommend it.
I mean,
I
that's a
drop a
solid.
link for you, but I don't know how to do that.
That's a great V8. That's one of the V8s that
Yeah,
I
you're right.
consider one of the like most.
And the Speciale dials it up another level. So 458 Speciale, to me, that's probably my favorite Ferrari that I can recall if you get away from their hypercars.
Yeah.
So forget the hyper Ferraris. I think the 458 Speciale, I would take one every single time over anything that comes after it.
Yeah.
I've been around them. I've listened to them. They're intoxicating. 48, nothing in comparison to that. Pista, it's getting better. So
Yeah,
now
Pistas are pretty awesome.
they're dialing up it again. They may get back to something, but 458 Speciale is literally the best of the best in terms of that exotic V8.
Yeah.
So good call on that one, driving to that direction.
If I had to do
or-
something more like in our affordable range, I'd almost say the V8 and the Ford GT350 is actually a pretty solid V8.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That's right.
Another naturally aspirated one, I'd say probably the M5 V8 back in the like the second gen M5, the E39 body.
39, yep.
That was a good one. The C63, the 6.2 V8 in the Mercedes have always been phenomenal.
But you know, Josh has a point. The LS7 is pretty special.
Yeah,
And for the price point it plays at, it is really hard to.
it's hard to beat it.
Yeah.
It's hard to
It's
beat.
a hell
You
of an
actually can't compete ahead. I mean, if you throw in the price in there, it's incredibly hard to beat the LS7. It actually may be the best bang for the buck motor out there, honestly.
How
How
would you say the LS1 is?
Yeah, I was going to say, how could you
Well, I
put
mean-
it ahead of an LS1, you know, dollar for dollar? You just do a heads cam on an LS1 and it's, you know, it's competing with that in terms of at least power, you know, not quite in every way, but for the money, hard to.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there. I'm sorry. Yeah,
So
That's why the LS1 goes in everything.
I mean, I'm an LS1 fan.
that was
So what's
funny.
everyone's next car going to be?
There you go, Alex. You
What do
like
you got?
wagons, right?
That's a good question.
Oh, look at that. The
That's it.
Avant.
What is that?
Shit. It's sitting in downstairs right now. It's a 528 wagon with an LS7.
There you go.
Wait,
Nice.
what?
It's a wagon, 528 wagon with an LS7 in it. Let me see if
BMW
it'll-
wagon.
So, yeah, throw that picture back up there.
That's badass.
Yeah. I mean,
You
I
see
like.
it?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh,
I see
there we
it.
go. Yeah. That's downstairs at your house right now?
No, I'm up in the shop. So downstairs is where the cars are at. But that's up on the lift right now.
So who like is that
It's-
for someone like prominent that we know, or is that for just like a,
No, that's well, Paul's putting the motor in. It's a Koenig built motor, but he's putting it in our friend Dean's car. So
That'd be great,
Dean owns the
that's-
wagon, but
so what is it, just a stock LS7 or is there something else in the LS7?
wet sump T56. I don't know.
Transmission?
I think that's it.
Really? So Steve, I feel like you would know this better than I would. So the there's a T56 transmission and the Tremec 6060.
No, different. So the T56
No, I know. So like
came sooner.
I always hear like stuff like the T56 handles more power, but the Tremec feels better.
They've gone to a world where I don't pay enough attention. So like when I follow, especially like Granis and all the stuff he's coming out with, I'm like, oh, cool. What is this Magnum? Oh, now there's a Magnum F. You know, like I'm not that hip on that stuff. I don't have anything that's backed by that. I don't plan on buying anything that's backed by that other than my IS300, meaning I would consider doing like a Granis transmission on that car. That would be fine. But I don't know enough to be an expert on it at all. I just read up on Facebook what I learn, you know, week over week.
Is it a dying thing, like being able to drive a manual transmission? You know,
I think so.
I mean, it is, but look at all of us. You know, our average age isn't exactly young anymore. Even
Whoa,
though
whoa,
when we all started out,
whoa!
we were all young and getting into this import scene, and it was all about manual transmissions, right?
Yeah.
Even like for the Viper, Z06s, obviously they were all manual back cars and that was it. So like we've all lived through that transition. You know, as much as I love Porsche and Lamborghini and Ferrari and McLaren, they've been the ones putting this pressure on going to the two pedal experience, and they've done it well. And I even subscribe to it in a way. Like I own the GTR for 4 years. I know what the advantages of the damn thing are, and I enjoyed them. You can use that car all the time. I could go to Costco, I could go to Home Depot, I could go to the grocery store, and then I could still kick ass on the freeway when I wanted to, on the on-ramp or whatever I wanted to do. I totally understand it. But on the flip side, I'm still always going to be drawn to more purist cars. And I read something that I really enjoyed recently. So you guys who may not know Porsche 911s, you know, that well, you probably see everybody losing their mind over the 991. So the 991 is, you know, one of the latest generation ones, and it's got a longer wheelbase, and they're all pretty much two pedal cars with very few exceptions. And people have been doing crazy numbers with them. You know, they're finally doing 1,000 wheel horsepower 911 turbos more regularly. It wasn't like a total freak show where someone had to spend underground racing levels of money to build it. Now you can kind of go off and do that pretty regularly, and you can actually enjoy the car because it's a two pedal car. It doesn't make you suffer. You can have fun with it. But the more you learn about Porsche, the more you like their older stuff. So like I'm actually drawn more to their older products than their newer products. Whereas a new Porsche owner getting in for the first time, they literally go right for the latest, greatest stuff. And so it's kind of a funny progression you'll watch, because then they own the new stuff. And then 2 years later, they're like, man, I got a ride in a 997. Oh my God, I lost my mind. It was so amazing. I'm going to get rid of my new one and get an older one. And so we all kind of do that. And there are sweet spots in all the lineups. But for the people who want the latest and greatest, maybe they'll always want the latest and greatest. We haven't even talked about McLarens. I have funny feelings about those cars.
Dude,
but you know,
I don't know a single person. I know a couple people who have McLarens. None of them are happy.
I love
yeah.
the car. I mean, I love the way the car looks, but they're just
Going
fairly
back to what
unreliable.
Steve was saying about the older Porsches. So I really love I like the 996 more than 997.
Oh, that's rare.
Yeah.
It is.
Very rare.
I like the headlight. I don't necessarily really like the circly oval headlight thing. I'm a big fan of the 996. Like Steve, your 996 GT2, like, oh yeah, that
No,
does
they're
it for
both
me.
997s. So
Wait, really?
I own two 996s.
Oh.
And I got rid of them both. But that doesn't mean they're not great cars. I do love the 996s. Hey, D's Nuts just joined us.
What's up, Bill?
That was awesome.
So
Bill's here.
little background. So Bill is looking a little rough there, buddy. Bill is a Viper owner, and he actually was the one who picked up my Z06 for me. Like the guy actually lived next to Bill. He was the one who went out there. He like the greatest story ever is like the guy's like, yeah, the dealership offered me $29,000. He's like, I'll give you $28,500. So
How did that conversation? How did feel going in there offering 28.5 and the dealership already offered him 29? The guy was probably looking at you like, what the hell is wrong with you?
So the guy was a politician, right?
He was cool. Yeah, the guy owned an electrical contracting company, and like had also been like a city mayor or something. He pretty successful dude. He just kind of laughed. He knew I was fucking around. He probably didn't know I was 80% serious, but it was worth a shot.
So lesser known so he was Rogue GTS on the forums. So Bill, you have Anna, Bikini Racer, Jason, Lintrix, Alex D, Homo, Steve Theodore there as Steve Theodore from the forums.
Right on. A bunch of people there.
Yeah. So it's a good old good bunch of car folks.
I'd like to just introduce myself as the only moderator that's ever been banned.
No, I was banned. No, I was banned.
Oh, you're banned too?
Yeah.
You got banned, Josh?
Silver Bullet must have got banned at some point. Tony.
Josh was super mod.
Tony.
Wait, wait, Tony got banned or he banned us? He banned me.
No, Dusty.
I think
banned
he
me.
eventually got the axe at some point. He was hardcore.
Dusty
Oh.
banned me, but it was cool. Like me and Dusty have worked it out. We're cool now. But this was like back in like 2008, and like yeah, I got banned.
Yeah, mine
because,
was like 2006, 2007-ish, I think.
What?
Said mine was like back in 2007 when I got banned.
What'd you get banned for?
What did I get banned for? It was something stupid because Dusty thought I was like flipping parts on the side.
Well, you probably were.
No, I mean used parts, not new parts. He thought I was like selling like brand new stuff and just like whoring stuff out on wholesale.
Yeah, no, me and JP got banned at the same time for the same thing.
Oh, well, who banned you?
Dusty.
Oh, Dusty banned you. Oh, okay.
No, like I said, we're cool. We're cool now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
Mine was all silver bullet. He banned so many people, and I still to this day don't know why he banned me. To this day.
No reason, I'm sure.
Yeah. It just all of a sudden he just like flipped the switch and just didn't like me, apparently. Like he was telling everyone around Maryland he didn't like me. I'm like, what did I do to him?
To be
He's
fair, I'd
actually-
probably ban you too.
He's a pretty good guy when you get to know him, which is why it's so ironic that his
In
internet.
person, he's the nicest guy ever in person.
Right.
Like, I've met him many a time. I've talked to him many a times in person. Nicest guy.
Is he like really short?
He's like the same height as us. A little bit short, a little stockier.
Well, I'm like, I don't know, like, because yeah, he seems to have a quick trigger finger. So I was just curious if he had like.
Yeah, he's not tall. He's like he's my height, or if not a little bit shorter. But he's stocky. Yeah, he's not tall.
So who here has the fastest car?
Definitely not me.
Yeah, probably
Not me.
Jason. It's gonna be you. By
Go,
a process
Jason.
of-
I don't really
of
have that.
elimination.
But yeah, maybe Jason. I don't know what everybody
The
has.
fastest car would probably be the Model X, right?
Oh no! Wait, your Model X
We
is
don't want it
fast.
to be true. We don't want it to be true.
Wait, your
Well,
Model
the
X is.
quickest. I'd say the quickest, not the fastest.
Well, yeah. So, how fast is the Model X compared to the Lambo or the Supra?
I mean, it grips right off the line out of the hole. It just goes zero
Dude,
to
the thing runs tens.
in 2.8 seconds. I've never done a quarter mile on it, but it's
Actually, no. Your Lambo should be fast. Doesn't that do like mid tens from the factory?
I have no idea.
I think it does like.
I don't think they're that fast, actually,
Oh.
but we want to think they're that fast. I think they're
Yeah,
in the
slow as
11.
shit.
It doesn't really feel that fast. I don't know because by design or something like that, but I mean the Super feels fast because it's literally screaming at you while you're going.
Yeah, got the old screamer pipe on there.
Yeah. But
The Teslas
Yeah.
from a roll, they're not as brutal, obviously. From a dig, they're lethal.
yeah, from
You guys, well, Jason will love this. So one of my favorite stories when I had my 996 Turbo, the white one that I sold not too long ago, didn't have many mods. It had a tune, I think, at the time of this race, but I was getting on the freeway and I was going up this hill and it's a 70-mile-an-hour zone. And I see this Model 3 just kind of creeping up with me. There's two people in it. They're kind of all giggly. And I'm like, fuck this. This is not happening. So, I downshift to fourth gear, third gear, whatever. And I light the car up. And I mean, I'm redline shifting. I am not pulling any, pulling punches. I'm going as fast as my little turbo could go. And then I'm glancing at the mirror. God damn it, if they're not staying right with me. So I'm so angry at this point. Then in my mind, I was like, I am not letting up. I will go until I run out of gas to get the fuck away from them. They're going to lose. And literally that's kind of what it took. It wasn't a long race, but I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. I will not stop. I will not let off until they basically submit or go away. And they finally went away. But that car was fast, relative to what I was hoping to see out of it.
Yeah, they're fast. As soon as you punch it, you get that instant torque. But top end, it really just dies down.
I knew I'd win, but I didn't know if it was just by will or by the thing couldn't go.
It's all will, baby. It's all will. Like we're willing gas cars to be faster than that, because like that's all we got right now.
Pretty much. we're not all with underground racing at this point. So then you can, have it your way, every which way.
So I mean, like, yeah. What about those other like with like AMS? They do some stuff. Dallas Performance, right?
Sure. They're all playing in that league. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but just like it seems like just underground, just like they just consistently, I love
So-
underground. Kevin,
Yeah, Casey and Kevin are just killing it out there. But the other shop in Dallas, they just lost their one guy. The one shop owner.
yeah,
Taylor.
he died.
Yeah, he
Dallas Performance.
died like a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of set the shop back a little bit.
We
So
just
that was-
lost a GTR shop owner today, by the way. A guy that
I heard about that in Dallas, right?
Doug Ross, and he owned Weapons Grade Performance. He passed this morning. Unfortunately, driving a customer car. He was doing some kind of whatever. And I don't know what he was road testing the car. Let's just say, who knows what was really going on. And he was passing someone, and he got into almost a head-on, and he died at the scene. And he's somebody I know. I know him personally. He actually did business up here. He leaves behind a wife and child. Very young child. It's terrible. I mean, it's tragic. And you see the
Yeah.
community already like, most people are real human beings. They're saying the right things. Like, oh my God, I don't care if I had differences with this guy. He didn't deserve this. But you got these few pricks out there that are, making fun of him, calling him names, doing some things I don't understand. Like, to me,
Yeah,
it's inhuman. I don't get it.
that's low.
The lowest of the low. Exactly.
Mm.
I mean, I remember when like that guy from Dallas Performance died in that, like driving the customer's car, and then Underground like donated like $10,000 to like the fund for his kid and wife.
That's classy, man. That's classy stuff. And I don't think that's going to happen for poor Doug Ross. And, I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong, but he was a very polarizing character in the GTR community. I know that community pretty well because I was part of it for 4 years and I'm still part of it. But, he made a lot of enemies, let's just say, and it was his fault. He was no saint. He deserved the reputation he got, but it's still a tragic accident. Nobody would wish that, should be wishing that upon anybody. I don't even care if he stole money from you. That's not the right, conclusion. So it's a sad day, in the GTR community for sure right now.
So not to make light of that, but see the GTR to me, I've always thought like it's a great car, tons of potential, but doesn't whenever I've gotten in one, it doesn't feel like the same emotion behind like a real sports car. I was looking at before I bought the Z06, looking at Maserati GTs, and it was things like it doesn't feel like you're in the whole soul thing. It just doesn't feel.
Oh, this is different. So it's actually, I understand why you're saying what you're saying. The first time I drove one, it felt more like a gimmick than anything else. Like I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know a car could launch like that. This is absurd. Coming from 6-speed Supras on street tires, this thing is a rabid beast, the way it launches. But then when I owned one, I don't even know what it was, because at first I'm like, why did I even want this car? Like, obviously on paper, we all know why we want the car. It's a twin turbo. It's got unlimited mod potential. It's cool. It's rare. It's got a lot going for it. But I actually learned to love the car over the first 6 months. I loved it more and more the longer I had it. At least, you could say for that first 6 months of time. I think it's a very misunderstood car. I feel like people want to hate on it the same way that you would want to hate on maybe a Honda Civic, if you were driving around in a Supra. I just mean, it's so different. It's almost like this is my crosstown rival. I can't possibly love it. But on the flip side, that car is actually one of the most practical, super cars with quotes intended that you could buy. I mean, it's got a perfectly usable trunk. It's got a great, it's got as shitty of a rear seat as any of these cars in this class, but it's there, and it really can do everything well. You're just starting to kind of split hairs then as far as,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't get something I wanted from it. But I would suggest that unless you own one, you won't see all the facets of the GTR R35. I think you, as an owner, you'll learn that there's more to the car. There was real engineering made, real efforts were made into making that a driver's car. The harder you drove it, you actually started to feel that more and more. And I'm not talking about in a straight line. I'm talking about mountain roads, twisties. You know, that car was very well engineered, and it was obvious when you owned it and appreciated it. It's not a perfect car, but none are. You know, it just was great at so many things. And that platform has proven to be one of the best. You know, we're talking about Lamborghini, GTR, and Viper. Short of that, no one's really running in those ultra competitive leagues for, you know, half-mile street racing. We start talking about 2,000 plus horsepower. That's
the Civic Si.
It is literally the Supra of our era right now. It is literally it's
So
the
like
Supra-
yeah, I mean like Steve, like because I respect your opinion because you own like a lot you know like your Porsches, your Supras and stuff like that. But yeah, the GTR just felt weird to me. You know, like
too big. I'll be the first to tell you
I
that.
don't know if it was felt
It's a
big,
big
but like
car.
Too big.
big.
I wish it was 9/10 scale. Like, to me, the 911 Turbo is effectively the same thing I'd want it to be, but obviously the engine's in a different place, so it's not a perfect comparison. But I think the 911 Turbo is a better GTR. Now, to be fair to Nissan, they benchmarked the 997 Turbo, right, when they were developing the R35, and then they made a better car, which forced Porsche to do the same thing and one up them. So it was really good for that arms race escalation process. They helped each other make a better car. And then Nissan lost the plot, just like Acura did with the NSX. And they're like, well, we got no more money to throw at the damn thing. Let's just facelift it and make it a little quieter. So I'm more kind of bummed out that they squandered what they did early on. Again, just like Acura. And then it kind of now is like, yeah, it's okay, but it costs $110,000, and it's no better than the one that came out, 4 years ago. Really, a few things changed, but not much. And so I get more upset about that.
So the NSX is a car that's actually it's kind of piqued my interest because they've dropped down quite a bit in price now.
Great car.
And
what year NSX?
The 2017 and up, I think.
Oh no,
they're special cars, and the more you read about them, the more you'll like them. I was a real hater of that car when it came out, and I mean a real hater. Like, I don't want anything.
It looks amazing.
Now, I actually think differently about them. I think
I like them. I like them a lot.
Didn't do a good job on their marketing efforts. They didn't really position the car the way they should have. I know why they did. They thought they could take on Lamborghini and, Ferrari and Audi R8s and all that. And in reality, nobody's really going to buy an Acura at $200,000. This is not going to happen. It's similar to like the LFA where they're like, yeah, it's 400 grand for a Lexus. You're like, get the fuck out of here. Like, nobody's going to buy it. And it's just a fact. You're in a different league of competition at that point. But once it becomes a used car, things change. The legend of the car gets built. The money goes down, usually. I'm not talking about LFA. Usually it goes down. Now you can get an NSX for 110.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is a good car. I've never driven one. I've heard they're insane. Like,
I've been in one before.
Yeah, I've never driven one. I've ridden one. But
I've been in one before. Those things, like the handling on those things, are razor sharp for one thing.
So I would like to point something out here. Bill over there, he likes the second gen RT10 over the SRT10.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you're fucking weird.
Justify your views, Mr. Bill.
I like the Gen 2 Viper better than the 3, pretty much across the board. I'd take a coupe over an RT10
obviously
every day, but comparing the two, I've just never liked the 03 plus cars at all. No part of it.
But are you sour on the Gen 4 and 5 as well?
No, not the 5. I like, aside from the bearing motor sand issues they've had. Overall, I think it's a really good car. Gen 4 is better than a 3 for sure.
Okay. We were talking about the Gen 5 before you joined the call. So it's fun to have you come on because I've never owned one. I love to hear from people who really know them. So thanks.
Yeah, Bill's a big Viper guy. I mean, you know, Viper Alley back.
That
But-
community's pretty interesting.
Dude, I can't like RT10 over the SRT10. That is just terrible. That's a terrible take. Like,
No,
is there anyone here, who would rather have a RT10 over an SRT10?
Didn't buy either of them.
well, these days I think, and it's been for a while. The 03 car is cheaper than the.
They are. Their 03 car is the cheapest, besides the Gen 1, is the cheapest one you can get.
Yeah, you can find those things for like pretty much 30 grand.
Did they make more of them? Do you know? Like, was it a big production boost then or not?
I
don't
think they made more 03. They for sure sold more 03s.
Okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
I
pretty
would totally
decent.
buy an 03. I would take an 03.
Well, you'd have to compare the 03 to the Gen 2 car because in 03 they didn't have a coupe. They only had the
Had a
convertible.
convertible, yeah.
that's
I
right.
have to look at the whole Viper production. They may have made more of them, but I don't think it was a significant enough number to sway the price. I think people just aren't that into them.
I'm into them.
I remember
And-
when the Gen 3 came out, they had talked about how much better made it was. Like it was a big deal. And now from the lens of history, you kind of look at the Gen 3 and you're like, like it doesn't really feel like that was a big, attribute of the car. It didn't seem like it was that much better.
I think it
That's
was
fine.
better built. I think it's more of like just how shitty the second gens were built. It is way better built.
It is, but it lost all the
So they
interesting
made
features of what made a Viper a Viper. Like it didn't look the same. It kind of got all angly and like it was trying to be a vet. And it's like, okay, so you put a little bit better interior in it, which is still a,
Dodge Neon
mediocre
interior.
at best compared to any other car. You make the motor a little bit better. You make the seats worse. It's like, who really cares?
So for Gen 3, they sold 1875 SRT 10s in 2003. In 2002, they sold 918 RT 10s. So they definitely sold twice as many.
Double.
Yeah, twice the amount.
I just wondered if that was a factor. I don't know these things. I'm just curious.
And then in
Dude,
2004, they sold 2,400 SRT 10s, which is a huge bump from there. I mean, they sold a lot of SRT 10 convertibles for sure in the Gen 3 era. Compared
I'm
to
a
the
big
Gen 2.
SRT10 fan.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't buy either one of the cars. I'm with you, Steve. I don't like.
I'm not drawn to convertibles. You guys all know that. But then when you start talking about the hardtop versions, obviously that's what I would choose. But I've never been a Viper guy. That's why the Gen 5 to me, it's the only one that I think I'd be willing to give a real look at. That's why I was curious if you guys had experience with them. You talk to guys like Calvo and others in the community. I mean, it's like the best of the best, It's like a Supra replacement, even though it's not at all. But, it's still a front engine rear wheel drive car. It's got nice lines and, it's rare. It's got some cool stuff going for it.
He's kind of he has to play that part because he's selling all those kits for that car. So that's his platform. That's his cash.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But he's doing a
Yeah.
good job with the platform. We can all respect what he's doing. For a car where you're bolting on, I guess, a turbo kit, there's a lot of bang for your buck in that platform. for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
No,
So who's
Gen 5 is a great car. Like you just have to be ready that it could have issues where it chews up main bearings because
They have a lot of issues with that.
Yeah, because of the block casting wasn't cleaned very well, and they end up pumping sand out. It's if you catch it early, it's not a big deal. You can change the bearings with the motor in the car, but if you don't catch it, it can smoke the bottom end.
Pretty
But,
catastrophic. Yeah.
If you want something you can mod, I mean, there still is that fact of it's an 8.5 liter motor. You throw a couple turbos on it, and the thing will accidentally make 1,200 horsepower.
Well said.
I mean, I love. I mean, like, Bill, I love the second gen Viper, but like the third gen Vipers it's a better built car. I
It's
mean,
not saying much though. The Gen 2s were built like crap. They're
Yeah,
terrible.
but nobody bought a Gen 2 because it was a well-built car.
I did.
Like-
I thought it was gonna be like my Civic. It was actually shittier than my Civic.
I believe that. I believe that.
I mean, yeah. The
Honda engineers would be like rolling in their graves to hear you comparing a Viper to a Civic, meaning they really did sweat a lot of details for a Honda. And Dodge, we all get the thought that they just threw it together, man. Let's make some power and have some fun. It wasn't supposed to be living up to these refinement levels that a Honda Civic should.
It's not an Audi. Like
Right.
it was a Dodge and it had minivan turn signals. You knew what you were getting.
yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to call it today. It's
No
way
worries,
past
man.
my bedtime, and I'm falling asleep.
It's
All
good
right,
seeing you,
Jason.
man. Thanks,
You guys,
Jason.
Your conversation.
We'll catch up with you.
Catching up to all y'all.
All right, Jason. Have a good night,
Nice
buddy.
meeting you.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So like the Viper was not well built. I'll admit that. But
It was
there
a
was
piece of
something
junk.
about it.
It was just a big motor in a car, in basically a full frame car.
It's a Shelby Cobra done again. That's really
Yeah.
all it is, right? So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if you appreciate and love it for what it is, you'll never be disappointed. If you expect it to be anything else, you're gonna hate it. Like there's no real middle ground with owners of those cars. Like it's either like, yep, I get it, and this is what I want, and I take it for all of its faults, or you're never gonna enjoy that car. Because it's kind of built like shit. It's super hot. You don't pull the cats off. It's creaky and finicky, but it's a fucking good time too.
So I would say owning a Honda really just like wrecked my opinion of every other car, because this Hondas just are so reliable. Like nothing breaks, nothing goes wrong, and
Except
They're
when the
just-
timing belt breaks.
what?
Except when the timing belt breaks in a Honda. Pretty catastrophic there.
And my not 10 belts never broke, but like it's just it's really hard for me like to justify like I mean Bill, Alex, you both know like I always see like these like Audi and BMWs, and it's like do I really want to like subject myself to that?
Dude, Honda's always been economy cars short of the NSX, S2000. They're known much more for bread and butter, right? Even the hot ones. The one I'm interested about, do you guys have any experience with the new Civic Type R, the turbocharged one?
I've been in one before. These are fun.
Yeah,
Like I've never been in one. I've heard they're amazing. So
They're actually great drive. It's a good handling front wheel drive car, and
great.
it's
I never
powerful.
want to pay fucking 40 grand for one, but they're
Yeah.
good.
But they're powerful, actually. I mean, it's those things move. Those things haul ass, and they handle great. The only thing I can't get past is it's too boy racer look. Like the look is a little bit too extreme for me.
Yeah, if you're over 22, you look like an asshole getting out of that thing.
imagine me and my Subaru STI not too many years ago. I went to a meet once and I was like, fuck this. Like this is not my crowd. Fuck, I love this car, but I don't want to associate with anybody who has one.
So that's where the car in that segment, the car that I would pick in that segment would be the Golf R over the Civic, over the Type R.
Oh,
just because-
Bill's so hard right now. Bill's
Yeah.
got such a boner right now. He loves fucking VW.
But even to step it up from there, my still ultimate favorite it's not really in that segment. It is in a way as far as like size wise. The RS3 is still my favorite.
Oh yeah, that thing's a fucking monster.
So fast when you tune them. Jesus.
Jesus
So,
Christ, like you guys all like those cars?
so
Oh, yeah.
Josh, so
Oh,
to
yeah.
like segue from when you were talking about like how like what your next car purchase is going to be, that's probably going to be my next car purchase, RS3.
I'd get a Tesla killer plate frame on it and I just go shooting for Teslas all day.
Yeah, the RS3 has definitely been on my list for like a while now, and now they've come down to like a pretty reasonable, like affordable. You can get a nice one for like 45 grand. So
That's-
they've gone down to like a pretty reasonable price.
That's like 35 grand more than everyone to spend on like a Volkswagen or Audi or whatever.
All right, well,
You're not giving it the credit it deserves. That's
yeah, it's a pretty badass little car.
Oh, I mean,
It's a really badass car, honestly. The RS3 is just it's a different. It's
They
an
run
it's
with
an animal of its own.
GTRs, guys. I mean, the fucking stuff is fast as hell. You know, you'd start messing with them. They're really fast.
Like
It's
I'll put a tune on there, and I will actually like I would give your Z06 a good run in the quarter mile.
like the RS5, I like the
Or that's the
RS5. The
transmission,
RS3
well.
is a little weird to me.
No, RS3 is the size of a car that it should be. The 5 and the 6 are just too big.
I agree.
If I have to go up to a 5 and 6, I'll just go to RS7 at that point.
Yeah.
This is a land yacht.
Yeah, those things haul ass
Doesn't
too.
RS7 only come in like a hatchback weird wagon thing?
US.
That's the 7. That's the 7
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the standard body.
Yeah, but that thing hauls ass. The 7's haul.
I don't do wagons.
It's not a wagon.
They don't think it's a wagon, but I agree with Josh. It's really a wagon.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
just don't call it that. It's a sport back or something like
Yeah,
that.
Sportback. It's like the CLS kind of. That's who it competes against. That
So
and,
I do like some of the
Drake.
CLSs though.
I like the CLSs. I like JP's old CLS. His
Yeah,
is
that
badass.
black 07.
Yeah, I tried to buy it off him and he wouldn't sell it to me for the price. That bastard. No, it was only 06 that had the 55. It was a 1-year deal for the CLS 55. It's 1 year.
That's when like Anna's got that like LS7 powered Mercedes in her garage.
It's a BMW.
BMW.
Oh,
That's not mine. It's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I mean, you got a wagon with a lot of power.
You're talking about
first of all, I don't
sleeping.
like wagons. But like, so what's the power potential? Like, what are they trying to make with that one?
I think that one's like 550. So it's a kid hauler, grocery getter with power.
So what made them want to throw in an LS7 versus like a BMW motor?
I think reliability. And like we know a couple guys with shops that work on those motors. So he's up in
LS7 is
Dallas.
so easy to work on. It's so simple, and the parts are so cheap for it too, and they're readily available everywhere.
Wait, so have you guys ever tried to do an oil change in an LS7 before?
No. Oh, you were telling me about this. It's
Yeah.
a dry sump though. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
tricky,
not.
dry sump.
Yeah, it's not not straightforward.
Yeah, it's a dry sump car, so they're a little bit trickier.
Why? Because it has multiple drain points. I mean, that's
No,
probably what this comes
you
down
have,
to.
you have to turn the car on when it's like all the oil's empty. So it's like there's no oil in it. You have to turn the car on for 30 seconds before starting to pour oil in. It just seems weird. Like, oh my god, there's no oil in the car.
What do you mean turn on? You just initialize it? You're not kidding
No,
the starter, are you?
Turn it over.
Really?
Yeah, you turn it
Oh,
on.
okay. That's weird.
Really, yeah, it's really disconcerting. Like I called Alex. I'm like, Alex, do I have to really do this? He's like, oh, I don't know. I guess maybe.
Yeah, that would make
Alex
me
is my
nervous.
go-to mechanic.
I barely work on my own cars now. Literally, I don't even like change my own oil because it's
I'm with
messy.
you. No, I'm with you, dude. I don't work on shit. I just send it to Ishii or a Porsche specialist. And it means I don't send them as often because it costs a lot. But at the same time, I don't mess around nearly as much, except for my IS300. I'm fucking around all the time with that. Like, I don't care. I'm playing with it. It's on jacks all the time. I'm messing around. I'm not intimidated by that car. So that's fun.
I mean, Steve, how many cars do you have right now?
Just 5.
Oh, just 5. See, I only have 2, and I was like, oh, you don't need another one.
But in our world, is that really weird? I don't think that's that weird, right? 5 cars.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Not really, right? If it was like
Yeah.
13, then it'd be like, oh shit, that's a lot of cars. But yeah, 5.
Hey, shh, no, it's not.
Okay, sorry, 30. Did I say 13? I meant
Yes.
30. That's crazy talk.
Oh,
So, Steve, how many? So you is it at 5?
Well, yeah, it's total vehicles. It's not like brag-worthy cars. You got the 2 Porsches in the garage, which are my pride and joy. I've got the ISF that I love. I've got my 4Runner and an IS300. That's it.
So the ISF, what year is that one? Like,
12.
I
Oh,
really
so you have
like
the
those.
Torsen in there. The
dude, they're
Torsen
so
rear
much more
diff in there and
expensive
everything.
than the BMW M3s.
Wait, I missed part of that. What?
No, the ISF is a lot more expensive than the BMW M3.
Not always, but
Oh, they are.
no, I follow them both, on Bring a Trailer and other places, but it depends. So like if you're talking about a very late model ISF, like a 13 or 14, they're expensive. I mean, you're going to spend 35 to 40 grand on a used
Yeah.
one in nice shape with a good color. Whereas an '08, 18 grand, you can have an '08 with 100,000 miles on it probably all day. And it's
I think
mostly the same car, but there are some substantial differences made along the way. 2010 is kind of the big year where they did the LSD as standard. And then in 2011, they changed the dash. And then 2012, they were kind of done with most of the changes. The 14 is unique. It has a carbon rear spoiler that, of course, everybody wants because it's the only year that has it. And there's only 86 of them sold in the US. So it's like unobtainium. And then if that wasn't badass enough, I found a guy that had a 14 with a solid roof, no sunroof. And I just lost my mind and fell out of my chair and didn't get up until the next day because that's a special order item. Nobody got those. That was like one of one. So I lost my mind. I would have bought it. It was for sale. And I was like, no, like
low mileage too, right?
What's that?
I said it had like no miles on there too, right? It was
It
almost
was
like
a low mile. It was like 24,000 miles.
Okay.
14.
Yeah,
But it was
see, I
ultrasonic.
play in the like 100,000 mile plus, Lexus ISF community. Like, I would think I like the car a lot, but it's not something I really want to own. But it's something I have cash, I could buy one. So like,
They're so much better than you think they are. And I can definitely say that with authority. It's such a great car.
It's a reliable car, Josh. Today, those cars will go easily 200,000 miles. Those things are pretty trouble free.
well, yeah, that's what they
Oh.
cost so much because they're basically like they're better than the M3, but they're just way more reliable.
So when you drive one, in anger, kind of around the twisty bits and braking and all that, it has Supra DNA in it, meaning you can tell the same powertrain engineers had a hand in this car, whereas most modern Lexus, not at all. And so it has this kind of personality that you would never get from reading a spec sheet. But when you drive one for real, you can feel that DNA and character coming out of this car, and it's awesome. So I really, really
Man.
love the cars.
I mean, yeah, it's I really like the white ones and the blue ones.
The blue one, I like the blue a lot. The blue's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite colors.
But like, it's just they're a little more than I would want to spend on like that kind of car.
Well, what's your budget for the BMW?
I mean, it's basically just kind of like 20 grand, like just like like
You're in the same. They're overlapping, right?
yeah,
So
no, yeah.
Yeah, they're in the
It's
same price range.
yeah, no, it's the same sort of thing, but it's just like
you want an E92, I assume.
yeah.
You want the carbon roof, I hope.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Steve. I'm gonna disappoint you. I don't really care about that.
Why the fuck would anybody buy that car and not get the carbon roof? Like that to me doesn't make any sense.
Well, like
But they do a retractable hardtop, as you know, for the whatever E93.
yeah,
And I had a
yeah.
coworker that bought one brand new, nice color, that dark gray, space gray or whatever it was. It was a cool color. And I remember he brought it in and I was like, what the hell? And he's all, he's demonstrating the roof and I'm just kind of looking at it like, I'm like incredulous, but it's what he wanted, so like, that's fine. He got the car he wanted. I think he still has it and, has been enjoying it for many years and really loves the car. So I'm not a BMW hater at all. I just know that, the Lexus experience, at least ISF versus M3, it's going to be quite different on a used car versus a used car. So when I look at it as a daily driver, it comes into my mind.
Oh yeah, I would never daily drive it. No, I mean it
okay.
would be up there, but I kind of want a truck too.
Raptor. Get that Raptor.
Raptor, baby.
Do the Raptor.
That's
Raptor.
right. We're all telling you to buy a Raptor. Go get a Raptor.
If not a Raptor, just get a diesel. Just get a 3/4 ton diesel.
Nah, Josh doesn't want the headache of a diesel. He won't drive it enough.
Oh.
The thing will never get up to operating temperature.
I mean, like I would really want F-150. Like I really like the way they look over like the Silverado.
Yeah, just get the Raptor, Josh.
Dude, the
That's
Raptors,
what I'm-
they're not cheap.
Josh, you were think about buying a Lamborghini earlier.
Yeah, well, but like I really want a Lamborghini versus like a truck I like kind of want,
But
maybe.
you've never driven a Raptor either. It's not your average pickup truck.
I've driven a Raptor.
A newer one, the V6 twin turbo one.
Yeah, 2000, and I was like appalled that it was a V6 twin turbo versus a V8.
They pretty much outperformed the V8. And
I know they do, but
Yeah.
it's like the electric car thing. Like I just really,
All right, fair enough.
no, the Raptors look great. I
And
mean,
they're fun as shit.
I know Bill has a truck, Alex has a truck,
Yeah,
Anna, Steve, do you guys have trucks?
It's a Forerunner, so not really.
Yeah, just a Forerunner and then a basic Chevy truck. So
I like my diesel. I love diesels.
Yep, I'm with you. You
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
love them for what they are and deal with all the
Yeah.
maintenance and
Headaches,
bullshit.
yeah.
But they're great.
That's right. You guys both have like those Chevys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine hasn't been too bad though. I haven't really had any issues with my diesel.
Steve,
I've
would you
had
ever
no
own a
issues
diesel?
at all.
Was that?
Steve, would you ever own a diesel?
Maybe. I mean, I don't.
No,
It's not. It's not like I don't like them, but I'd probably have something like a Raptor before I'd have a diesel truck.
If you're not pulling anything, there's really actually no reason to have a diesel, honestly.
well, like
There's really no
my whole
reason.
thing for having a truck is I'd want to be pulling something maybe eventually, like if my like Z06 broke.
What I'm saying is, well, you don't even need that. You don't even need a diesel for that. But if you're like hauling an enclosed trailer or with a car inside and everything, something heavy, you definitely want the diesel. Especially if you're going up mountains and stuff like that. You're gonna want the diesel.
So
Yeah, they're-
truck wise, who has the best truck? Chevy, Dodge, or Ford?
It's like
Oh,
religious
just
debate.
cross out Dodge altogether. Sorry, I'm not a Dodge guy at all. I just hate them. I would say more heavy duty built. Ford was more heavy duty built, but if you want best riding, best like driving experience, I think the Chevy's gotten beat. Chevy just drive like nice.
Chevy's comfy.
Yeah, they're comfortable. The Fords are more rough driving, but they're
Mm.
definitely more heavy duty built, in my opinion.
I mean, I hear that Chevy's the only one that has the automatic like 4-wheel drive.
Well, you got to specify what truck you're looking at because there's a big difference between the half ton and 3/4/1 ton.
Or wait,
stuff.
they're Silverado 1500.
Oh, that's like whichever one you. I mean, it's like it's personal preference at that point. I mean, I would honestly take the Chevy over it because actually, I don't know. I don't know. I just rather have this. That's actually the one time I'd actually rather have the V8 over the twin turbo V6 because the Raptor motor is different than the 3.5. And
Yeah, it is.
So I would rather have the Chevy.
Which means you should just buy a Raptor and be done with it.
Yeah, just get a Raptor.
I mean, like,
If you really need to tow with it, you can put some bump stops in the back and you'll be fine.
I'll put my big like Trump 2020s banner on the back of it.
If you don't want to spend that much money, you can always get a Lightning or like one of those.
Oh God, a lightning like Paul Walker Fast and Furious style lightning.
There's
I
a
like those a
there's a
lot.
Cyclone on Bring a Trailer right now for you. Go get it.
Yeah, you get
I'm
Cyclone.
not a Cyclone fan. I know
I
like,
love Cyclones.
SW loves
Cyclones and
old
Typhoons are
school,
like I love those
Ford,
things.
like,
Cyclone
not a fan.
can't tow anything, right? It's
Yeah, they can't really tow.
anything.
You can also get like a Silverado SS. They're actually aren't too bad.
Yeah, no, Alex. Remember I was telling you there is a black Silverado SS that was like driving around my office.
Yeah,
Dude,
they're
those-
actually.
Those trucks are getting expensive now. Those
Are you talking about the Silverado SS or like the 454 SS?
no, like the 454 SS, like
Oh
the
yeah,
square
yeah. There's a
body.
huge like that was like the big car at SEMA this year. There was a lot of 454 SS.
Dude, yeah,
SS
like-
at SEMA.
Friggin' SW has like 6 of those.
He has like unlimited number. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's always had those. Oh, he's always been huge.
Yeah, one's got like a blown aluminum 540 Brodix in it. He's done all kinds of stupid stuff to him.
Insane.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a. I don't like trucks and sedans. That like, why would you not just get a sports car? You know, like, I get it. You know, like, hey, I've got kids and they, you know, some get groceries and stuff in. Like, want to go kind of quick. I get that. But like, why? I don't get why people would take like a truck or a sedan and just try to go like all out balls to the wall.
Some people
Dude,
just
you
like
should buy a
trucks.
Viper truck. That's what you should get.
Those Jeep Trackhawks. I got a buddy with one. He does like 900 wheel horsepower.
Yeah, and those things are expensive as shit.
They are.
Yeah.
They're like 90 grand.
Dude, Viper truck. There you go.
Oh yeah,
But
Gilly.
the old
has one.
SRT10 ones.
Gilly
yeah,
has one.
10s. Yeah.
Or did. With the
Yeah.
manual transmission too.
It's got so much hood clearance, you can put a fat ass Whipple blower on it and make like a 900 horsepower.
You know, the only thing with those trucks is they were actually not very fast for how much power that they had.
Yeah.
Well, no,
The
the
Lightning
things
I
were
say the
zero
same thing about
traction.
Ford Mustangs all day long. So, it's kind of the same thing.
The SVTs were actually quicker. The Lightnings, I think, were quicker with less power.
Right. It must have been heavy. The V10 is heavy. We know that. So
Where'd Josh go?
I don't know, another beer or a bathroom break.
Probably another beer.
Probably.
Oh man.
I don't know
Probably
much
both
about
at the
trucks.
same
So
time.
you guys are on
Yeah.
your own on that one.
How are you guys doing with the quarantine over there in Washington?
We're ahead of the curve, meaning versus a lot of the country, which you would think is good, and in some ways it is good, but our governor's a retard. So meaning he is bound and determined to keep us shut down longer. So right now, May 4th is the next possible time to open up, but he's
Gotcha.
already posturing he's going to move beyond that. So we may be into later May before things really start coming back. And
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in science and facts and all that. I don't like to get caught up in too much shit. But at the flip side, there's so much debate on both sides. It's really kind of hard to justify a position because people feel strongly both ways. So what are you going to do? Chase your
Yeah.
time.
It's been I was telling Josh and like everyone and like, Anna, like my area in Washington here has been like a ghost town. There's like I was like riding a bike up Constitution Avenue, which usually that's a
Wow.
very
That
busy
must be
road.
kind of fun, actually.
It's actually really fun and it's kind of
Yeah.
creepy at the same time because there's
Right.
no one on the road. Just like riding a bike past all the government buildings and there's no one outside, no one here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're stay-at-home order till May 15th. But I mean, I've been out on the trails, just like doing my thing, just away from everyone, being smart about it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think Virginia's they're stay-at-home through June 10th, actually.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
They're the
Okay.
longest one. They're the furthest out.
Yeah, that's late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when our official date is out here in California, but I can tell you society has essentially decided I think we're over it.
I know what you're talking about, Bill.
Yeah.
There's significantly more traffic out in the last couple days than there was like a week ago.
Yep.
And people are kind of at that like, cases are declining. It seems like it's getting better.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have reached the like, fuck this, we're going back to work stage. And especially because the weather's going to be super nice next week, it's on. Like they may
Dude,
keep
I
some
can't
businesses
wait.
closed, but society as a whole is going to change our minds here very quickly.
Yeah, I think the West Coast is all in lockstep on that. I feel the same thing up here near Seattle.
Yeah, I've definitely seen an increase in traffic when I travel on the highway. But I know a lot of places aren't going to be opening up just because the fines that they have set for if you do get caught, it's pretty substantial. It's pretty crazy, actually. It's like jail time with fines.
Except out here, they're letting everyone out of jail because they don't want people
Well, because you're
So it's like,
fucking commie state out there.
yeah,
Goddamn communists.
we're retarded. I know.
Washington is the same as California. We're just as stupid up here. It's ridiculous.
I'm in like a mixed area. I have Maryland, which is a very blue state, and then Virginia, which is right next to me. And it's just like completely different world. And then here in DC, it's like, it's pretty interesting here. It's like politics are definitely the conversation of every single bar conversation here.
You're right there in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's
So
like
Anna, down in Texas, like, so you guys are apparently opening up next week.
Retail.
Some parts of it,
some,
yeah.
partial opening.
Yeah,
So-
just
How do you guys feel about that? Like, I mean, like, I would be down to go back to work, but like, what's like the general like consensus down there?
that they're tired of the quarantine and it's time to get the economy back rolling. And it's funny because I've got some friends in like super, super small towns and they are hanging out and some of them are working except like I guess the essentials are working and they're ready. They're ready to go back to work. The cases that are out there aren't, I mean, the numbers aren't matching up with what is getting reported. And I guess a lot of people are talking about that, about how the numbers aren't matching or like in my town's not that big. But they're saying like there's this many cases in our town, but there were this many tests that were done. And it's like, so the math isn't adding up. And so everybody's just waiting and waiting to see what can get opened up. And like, I think they said that the governor was going to open up certain businesses with certain regulations and stipulations and blah, blah, blah. But it's up to the business to do what's best for the business. So there's going to be guidelines, but following the guidelines is up to how you run your business here. So yeah, pretty much the entire state of Texas is like, screw this. There's no zombies. Let's get back to work. So.
I mean,
The way it
that's
should
the way to
be.
do it. Like, I'm so fucking sick of like being like, I don't mind being at home here and there, but I'm so fucking sick of just being, you know, just like the whole shelter in place thing. Like, I'm ready to like go do something. So I wish like, yeah, so we just actually extended our shelter in place until May 26th.
Oh wow.
So it was like the Tuesday after Memorial Day that we extended out to. So
Damn.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go on that long. I think there's going to be some serious pushback against the government very quickly here. Be like, no, like that's enough of this bullshit.
Well,
Well,
like,
you guys have seen all like on the news with all the protests, right?
yeah.
No,
happened
no,
in-
we haven't.
happened in my
pretty much watched
state.
the news.
haven't watched
Maryland,
the
they,
news.
they started protesting to open it up.
Michigan's like
Michigan
the
was
one
a
that,
big one
yeah.
too. Ohio, Michigan.
I think history is not going to be kind when we look back on this time. It's going to become a massive overreaction. The damage that's being done right now to our economy, to our livelihood, to our mental,
Oh yeah, it's
all of that's